Here we are with possibly the worst thing ever to happen to me. Why is my PNG tuber crashed? Isn't that awesome? I love that. Starting off well. Um, yeah. Give me a sec and I'll start the video. Just need to adjust a few other things. Hey Dime. Um, I'm not gonna say if I agree or not because I don't understand. I haven't researched the allegations and I don't want to be sued. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm actually gonna refrain from saying any awful things. And by awful, I don't even mean death wishes. I just mean just regular insults because I don't know how much leeway I'm gonna have. Also, hi. Yeah. I may end up doing something with this stream VOD at some point, so I'm just gonna introduce the idea. Basically, may or may not know, I am not a big fan of Lily Orchard. I do not enjoy her content, and I think she's not a good reviewer. And I recently found out that she made a Pokemon retrospective of every game in the series, except for the fact that it's not actually every game in the series because it doesn't count remakes or Black and White 2 for some reason. Even though Black and White 2 has a different story from the original Black and White, I don't really get that. Hi, hello. Yay. But yeah, she made a retrospective of the Pokemon series, and I'm not. I expect that this is gonna be bad. And I mean bad. I've watched a little bit. I've watched the Kanto part of things, and then I stopped because I noticed I have to make a stream on this, and I'm gonna do that right now, because that's kind of what I do, I guess. So, audio's probably super loud, actually. From what I've heard, no, she just doesn't cover Black and White 2 at all. Not a single bit. You know, this Gen 5 Unova, this is all Black and White 1, and then she just skips to Gen 6. She just skips it. I don't know why, but please tell me if the audio is too loud for the video, and I guess we're gonna get into this now.
Pokémon is old. Really old. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly old it is. With the main series alone that spans 38 games in less than 30 years, it's unbelievably massive in scope. I mean, people say Kingdom Hearts has been going on a long time, but not counting remakes, that series only has—
Oh boy, she's already mentioning Kingdom Hearts. Oh no, it's definitely gonna change. I am definitely changing expressions at some point in the stream. She's already mentioned Kingdom Hearts. In case you don't know, she loves Kingdom Hearts. She is in love with Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played it. I've heard that it's good. I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts. but she like loves Kingdom Hearts for some reason, and she thinks it's like the peak of literature. So yeah, just wanted to mention that in case it ever gets mentioned again.
13 games. I mean,
I
you
don't
really
know,
think about it,
man.
only 7 are required. Pokemon has been around longer than some of you have been alive. It's a more common household name.
No, Pokemon Red and Blue are the same game. She just goes through the generations. It's not even every game, it's just every generation. I think it's every generation. Does she go up to... Okay, yeah, it's every generation. She does mention game differences. She mentions like differences between Red and Blue. But other than that, I don't think she like counts them as different games. No.
Than Mickey
Which she shouldn't, by the way. Though they are not different games. They are the same game.
Mouse. I've grown up with Pokemon just as much as I've grown up with other game franchises. But the question is, how do they actually hold up? Pokemon as a franchise is steeped in...
Depends on the game, right? Like, it also depends if we're talking remakes, because Gen 1, I would say it does not hold up. I don't think that's a hot take. It really doesn't hold up. Uh, it's really buggy. Doesn't really look that good. But like Gen 3 forwards, I think it does hold up pretty well. All of them. In my opinion, at least. Like Gen 3's pixel art is really cute, even though it's not really my thing. It's decent. It works. So yeah. But I guess it's not just the games, it's also stories. I think the stories are all good. Oh, okay, maybe not all good, because I haven't finished Paldea, and I never played Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, so I can't really tell. But from the ones I've played, they're good. In my opinion. That's all.
nostalgia. It's a common
We're
sentiment that your
38
favorite
seconds in.
generation is the first one you played. Heated discussions about which generation was the best can get dominated by the generations that marked themselves a generation.
Gen 1 doesn't hold up, but it was mostly because of lack of experience. Yeah, I mean, it's on the Game Boy. I don't think we should, like, expect much of it. They were just kind of making shit up as they went. Wish I had played the original Gen 3 games. They look so cozy. Yeah, they do look cozy. They look pretty nice. I played Omega Ruby. Sorry, Alpha Sapphire. I didn't play Omega Ruby, but they're the same game, whatever. I played the remakes. I played stuff that uses the Gen 3 graphics. I also played Fire Red, but other than that, yeah, they do look really cozy. I gotta agree.
Divide. But how much of that is based on things that just don't exist anymore? Many of these games have features that don't work and take far too much time to really dig into, and which you needed to enjoy the game already to get the most use out of. See, when people talk about the Pokemon games, I feel they tend to get bogged down in the features or the memories. Nostalgia is a very powerful tool, especially with some of the mid-gen games. To hear some people talk, for instance, you would be forgiven for thinking that Generation 1 was this magical experience that changed people's lives, but in reality it was just the first open-world game on a handheld console. To hear people talk, you would think the Unova games had this deep, rich story that delved into complicated, mature topics. But in reality, it's actually a story about the very weak premise of, well, I sure do love opinions. And yeah, it's...
Huh. Okay, that's a very bad faith interpretation of Gen 5. I do agree that a lot of it is held up by nostalgia, but it is good. In general, I think the Pokemon franchise is good. But by the way, you're gonna notice throughout this video, she puts a few hints that she does not like Gen 5. She really hates Gen 5. So that's gonna be fun when we get there. I also played Alpha Sapphire, and it's the best remake. Is it the best remake? Could be. Alpha Sapphire is really good. I didn't play Delta episode. I really should. I played the main game basically, and the main game is really good. Like really, really good. But best remake could be. I'm a fan of Heart Gold because, you know, nostalgia and stuff. So it's kind of hard for me not to love it. So that would be my favorite remake. It's fun to make fun of Gen 1 games, but more in a how did this even happen sort of way, instead of how can they be this lazy kind of way. Yeah, because, I mean, they were just making shit up as they went, and it kind of just worked out because it's such a good, like, concept. Pokemon is an amazing concept, and it worked because of that, and also because beating your friends' pets up is funny. But, you know, well, not in real life. Don't do that in real life. Only in the video game. In Minecraft. Uh, uh, yeah. No, Gen 1 is pretty interesting. I don't think Gen 1 is good, but it is interesting. At least in a mechanical sense. In like a story-wise and character-wise and world building, it's really good. I think Gen 1 is really good. Okay, let's get back to it. We haven't gotten past the second minute of the video. I gotta stop talking.
It's kind of a you had to be there bit. But my question is, can you still play these games without the nostalgia today when all you have is the main game, the competitive scene is dead, and half the features don't work anymore? Can you still play
Yes,
Gen 3 without
you can.
friends to record mix with? Can you play Gen 4 without friends to crawl around the underground with? These games still have
Yes.
a main storyline and a progression path. Does that...
Those were never the main focus of it. Those were never the main gameplay. What are the games that... There's still people, and they love it. Okay.
part hold up on its own? And most important, did it ever hold up at all? Do these games hold
Yes.
up as RPGs? That's the premise I'm working through. How does...
If they didn't, the franchise wouldn't exist, right? I think. Like, I don't know, man. Whatever. Let's just keep
Pokemon
watching.
hold up as a game, rather than a loose collection of memories? Well, in this monstrous nightmare project I've tentatively called a video, we're about to find out. This is a complete retrospective on Pokemon.
Oh boy, here we go. I gotta read this, okay. I like reading stuff. Starring your boyfriend, fair. Okay, I get it. Guy who won't shut up about Fight Club. Is that Silver? I honestly can't tell. I haven't played the original Gold and Silver, so. Uninspired poet. Scroll. The guy who made that tweet about owning that. What? Huh? You know what? Let's just gloss over this one. I cannot read that. I don't know French and I hate the French, so. Moon lesbian true. Wrong weaseling. I don't know the tweet. What tweet? The tweet about owning Nessa. I've seen people whitewash Nessa, but not tweets about owning Nessa. There's in the intro when N showed up, the thing that said on the bottom was the guy who made the tweet about owning Nessa. And I don't know what that means. Alright, send it to me. I'm curious. Send it on Discord. What is this? What does this have to do with N? Dude. What the hell? Okay, that's something I did not see. Ever. Well, you learn something new every day, I guess. Okay, let's get back to it. Correct starter kind of based. Searching for his friend. Aristocrats. Armor bug. Angry celery. Capitalism working as a unit. Okay, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. I'll admit it.
Ah, Gen 1, the
Gen
OG,
1.
the retro, the... God, what are some other flowery words for old? The vintage, there we go. It's in vogue these days to kind of trash on Gen 1 for its glitches and lack of content and oversaturation of modern Pokémon and terrible artwork and messed up approach to game balance and excuse plot and simplistic antagonists and the fact that it's not on the DS. Oh, fuck, I wasn't supposed to...
She gonna accuse him of racism? I don't know. I have no idea. I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was.
Content and oversaturation of modern Pokemon and terrible artwork and messed up approach to game balance and excuse plot and simplistic antagonists and the fact that it's not on the...
Okay. I do agree that Gen 1 gets, like, dunked on a lot. Even though it's pretty decent. It's good. It's fun. Gen 1 has something that, like, a lot of other gens don't have. Just, I feel like Gen 1 has way more of a feeling of adventure, you know? Like, it feels special. It has something special going for it. Gen 5 fans are the new Gen 1ers. Honestly, I kind of agree. I would argue Gen 4 is closer to that, but yeah, no, I can see that. I can agree to it. But yeah, no, Gen 1 gets shit on a lot, but it's cool, and it has this feeling of adventure that I feel like no other gens have really. Well, other gens do have it, but not as strong as Gen 1 did.
A DS. Oh, fuck, I wasn't supposed to say that one out loud. But I found that the trashing is done without merit, or at least from a very wrong-headed place. Most arguments against Gen 1 cite the lack of tertiary features, the lack of a story, and the bugs. But personally, most of those are a positive, not a negative. It might not have a story, but having played the games that have one, honestly, I'm glad it doesn't. I'm glad there's still a Pokemon.
Okay. Cool.
Game out there, as flawed as it is, that just lets you go on your own adventure. It's something I feel Pokemon has gotten too far away from as the years go on. It's hard to introduce Gen 1 because its main selling point is that it was the first. Nothing in the games has remained only in those games. All of its mechanics are just the baseline mechanics of every Pokemon game. So let's just jump right into it and get this ball rolling. So in Gen 1, we start off getting to name our rival because his grandfather can't remember his grandson's name. Actually, wait, I can't believe I'm already making a tangent, but isn't it weird that between this and him asking you your gender in the Gen 3 remake, the latter became more memed on? Gen 3 adds gender select and the weird parody webcomics come out in full force. Honestly, Professor Oak was ahead of his time. He doesn't assume.
I don't know what she's talking about, considering that Oak asking about Gary's name. Not Gary, it's Blue. Sorry, that's anime. Asking Blue's name is like very memed on. It was memed to death, dude. I don't know if she was paying attention to like early 2010s, but that you would see that joke everywhere. People joke about it to this day. They joke about the fact that he asks Blue's name more than they joke about the fact that he asks your gender. Gen 5, bad because it has a story, then I'm sure she's gonna love Gen 9, or rather because the story is bad. Yeah. No. Something you'll learn about Lily is that she actually enjoys aesthetics more than the actual thing. Like, she's not the biggest fan of conflict in stories, which is very, very counterintuitive. But you know, like, she doesn't really like it. Her issue is that she doesn't engage with the story, like, ever. Ever. She just looks at her phone and she doesn't pay attention to it, and then she gets mad and says that something else should have happened because that's what she thought would happen, and it's bad that the show didn't follow what she said, what she thought would happen. It happened with Steven Universe. It happened again with Dungeon Meshi. It's probably gonna happen here. The only video I've seen of her was her video about Steven Universe. Yeah, no, that video is bad. She is at fault for popularizing so many misconceptions about Steven Universe, and it is part of why I don't like her. Like, God, dude, how can you? She frequently just like makes shit up. Which was like fine, I guess. It had some okay parts, but I haven't really seen Steven Universe give a proper opinion. It's not good. Like, Steven Universe has a lot of issues, but she keeps complaining about stuff that is a non-issue, and then she keeps parroting the same annoying points again and again, and semi accuses Rebecca Sugar of being a Nazi. Oh my god, the stream is tagged as Roblox. I forgot. Shit. Let me change that. What would this be tagged about? Is it just talking? Or is it like, is there a tag for a reaction? What the hell would this be tagged up? I have no idea. I think it's reaction, right? No. That's a game. Okay, let's put it as just talking then. There we go. That's better. Yeah, she just semi accuses Rebecca Sugar of being a Nazi, even though Rebecca Sugar is a Jewish woman. So she doesn't like straight up say it, but if I remember correctly, she says like, "Oh, do I think she's a Nazi? No. Would I blame someone for thinking she's a Nazi? Also, no." So that's like semi accusing her, which is really weird. Whatever. Let's get back to the video. We've been here for like 20 minutes, and I watched 4 minutes of the video. This is a 6-hour
Ally Professor
video.
Oak. Can't say the same for the manual, though. Oh yeah, I named my rival Sketchy. My mom tells me to look for Professor Oak, and when I go to check the grass, because naturally that is the first place anyone would look, he comes out of my house, so I guess he was hiding in the closet. Are you my dad? He takes me to his lab where Sketchy's waiting for the both of us and lets me choose a Pokemon. I chose Bulbasaur, because it's correct. Sketchy chose a fire type because...
Wrong. Charmander's better. Not Charmander. A Squirtle's better.
Of course he did, and then he wants to fight. Wouldn't be Sketchy if he didn't want to compete in something.
Bulbasaur is the new Charizard. I'll say it. Like, everyone loved Charizard, and then Charizard became mainstream. So now everyone who wants to be a hipster chooses Bulbasaur, even though now Bulbasaur is mainstream and they don't notice it. So now Squirtle's the cool one. But I've always liked Squirtle, so I was always right.
I just picked up that day, so of course he beats me.
They
Should have
did
gotten
make
suspicious
liking
potion
Bulbasaur
first.
for
Whatever,
me.
I got that and a free one from the salesman. Dude, you're the worst salesman ever. Went to the mart and got deputized into a special delivery service. This place is very trusting. How do you know I'm not going to steal it? I took it back to Professor Oak, so I guess he really did know. He gives me a Pokedex and tells me to fill it. By myself, I am 10. And now I'm completely off the leash. Record time, actually. If there's one thing about Gen 1 that still holds up, it's the fact that it quickly lets you off the choke chain to let you play the game. Even the catching tutorial is optional. If you don't know how to catch Pokemon, you can ask this guy, and he actually tells you can ask him the first time you pass him, but you can say no and carry on with your day. It's really that simple.
Okay, yeah, true. Catching tutorials are annoying. I don't know why they keep forcing them upon the player. I can agree to that.
And I was actually surprised coming back to Gen 1 just how simple it was. I mean, we all talk about how Pokemon should let people skip the catching tutorial, and this becomes a weird debate among...
And does it say? Better idea. Present the player with two options when you start a new game. First player and playing again. Cutscenes are non-skippable and do their job as you're playing the game for the first time. All you have to skip cutscenes as you've confirmed that you've already played the game once. That way you can experience the story properly in the first go around, but on the second and the playthroughs you have the option to skip it. I feel like that's so complicated for no reason. Just like put a skip cutscene button like every other game. 15 called, they want your jokes back. I don't even know what that's referring to, but I gonna just agree with what you just said because I don't feel like thinking.
among some people, but it exists in the first Pokemon game, and I find people forget that this
Hooray!
was something we figured out a long time ago. So I snagged myself a Pidgey before moving on to Viridian Forest. In the forest, I was looking intently for a Caterpie for far longer than seemed usual, actually. I kept running into Weedle instead, so I looked it up, and it turned out that the encounter rate for some Pokemon is different based on the version, not just the exclusives. No, I don't care for
Yeah.
that. Should have played yellow version, Lil. I did eventually find a Metapod, though. I really want a Butterfree because I have a bone to pick with literally every single Poketuber on the planet. See, because my generation is kind of dumb, there's this idea that because Butterfree doesn't get stab move,
I don't think you're super delayed. No, you've got like normal delay. I'm just dumb.
that makes it useless, that it's an early game Pokemon and you should soon replace. I disagree with that attitude, and I think that attitude is why Whitney and Cynthia made you all into whimpering piles of mulch and made you think you need to trick out a Weavile to even stand a chance. Also, Butterfree is literally perfect. Look at her. She is baby. Moving on to the first.
Okay. This is where shit gets interesting. So, a lot of people dislike the idea of certain Pokemon being stronger than others, and I think that's dumb. Lily obviously has the same opinion. And I also like Butterfree. It has always been like one of my favorite mons. I like Butterfree. I like using Butterfree. I like almost always use Butterfree for at least a little bit if it's available. But Butterfree is not strong. And that is a fact. An objective fact. Butterfree is inherently a weak Pokemon. Because it's supposed to be a weak Pokemon. Physically, that is. Like, this ties in with the whole Karen quote of, like, strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon, doesn't matter, a different, like, you should try to win with your favorites. That's not always true. You shouldn't always try to win with your favorites because sometimes your favorites suck. That's just part of life, you know? My favorite Pokemon of all times is Esper. Esper sucks. Meowstic isn't good either. It's like decent, you know? And like, okay, fine, you can like Butterfree, and Butterfree is useful in the early game because that's the point. Butterfree evolves early, and that's the same for Weedle and Beedrill. Like, it's a weak Pokemon that evolves super fast, so it teaches you about evolution, and then you can later, when you get a better Pokemon that evolves later, or is just better in some way, you can switch that Pokemon out. You can still like it. That doesn't take the value from that Pokemon away. But the fact is, certain Pokemon are weak, and that's by design. Because if your Butterfree could sweep the champion by itself, that would be kind of dumb. That would be pretty damn dumb. You know? Not every Pokemon's strong. That's just part of it. Just like how not every animal in real life is strong. Are you gonna get pissy because butterflies aren't stronger than a hippo in real life? That's just how nature goes. Some animals are stronger than others. And that has an important place in game design, because if every Pokemon is super strong, then you can just use whatever Pokemon and it doesn't matter. You can just catch one and keep using it forever without caring for anything else. When the point of the game is that you try to use different Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. That's the thing. You gotta catch them all. That is the slogan for a reason, because you're supposed to try different Pokemon. You're not supposed to just stick with one. Which is why I like what Unova did, where you have to use a different, like, you have to use the new Pokemon. You can't use old Pokemon until you beat the game. So that's an interesting way to do it. I don't feel like you should force the player to do it, but at the same time, I feel like it's fair. I think the fact that Pokemon games are easier now helps being able to use weaker Pokemon, so maybe Pokemon being easier games is a good thing. Kinda. I mean, kinda. It's more so, like... Yeah. I think that's right, actually. Yeah.
Gym, and you know what? I kind of admire it. Brock even says at the start that his whole gimmick is defense, and unless you open with Squirtle, it's not going to be a straight one-shot. But there's something clever here. See, Brock's Onix uses Bide, a move that relies on taking damage, and it can very easily fuck you over if you feed it. A lot of people have pointed out that Bide is pretty useless because it gives the enemy an opening to set up status moves. But that's the beauty of it. That's what the game is trying to convince you to do. As early as the first gym, the game is teaching you that status moves are the way to go. And for a Pokemon that is as defensive as Onix and has as low attack as Onix, Bide is a really good move to have. Well, it's not good in competitive, Lily. Yeah, but competitive has always been an afterthought. And I'm not talking about post-game, I'm talking about game. That's why I'm doing it this way. Anyway, that aside was to cover the fact that all I really did was chip them down with Leech Seed. First badge acquired. And
Okay, she said status moves are the way to go. Sometimes, yes, but let's not praise the game this much. It is really easy for you to just, beat Onix up and beat the game like that. It's really not that difficult, honestly. Like, I have never used status moves at all on Onix, or like, I barely use status moves in the main game because, like, main game is easy. It has always been piss easy. Which is why stuff like Nuzlocke and competitive exists. Because, well, competitive is more so because Pokemon is actually way more technical than people give it credit for. But that is the point of, like, Nuzlocke and stuff. Main game is super easy. There's no way around it. Like... And you don't need to use status moves to beat Onix in this situation, for example. Because you can, like... For example, you could walk to Victory Road. Not Victory Road, but the route before Victory Road. You know the one. Grab a Mankey, like, get a fighting type move and beat it up. That's a thing that you can do. You're super effective, you know? That's a possible strategy. There are multiple strategies. You can just brute force it. You can use status moves. You can find a new Pokemon. You can pick Squirtle. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's no way to go. And that's the point. It's a strategy game where you need to use strategy to win. Actually, Bide is kind of bad on Onix because Bide is better on high HP and low defense Pokemon, not a low HP, high defense. However, she's kind of right a little bit. Bide is still ass in the main game, not only in competitive. Yeah. I don't know. I never used Bide, so I have no idea what it does. What the fuck is she talking about? The only Pokemon that has a status move at the station of the game is Bulbasaur, maybe Butterfree. I think status, she means, like, both to yourself and the enemy. So, like, buffs, debuffs, and stuff like Leech Seed. She doesn't mean just Leech Seed. She means, like, Growl and Harden and other stuff. Which is fair. I get what she means, but I don't think there's one way to do it.
Pub was just a little bit from evolving, so I had to go take out another Weedle, which felt a little anticlimactic, honestly. But whatever, the important part is I have a Goral, who knows 0 new moves. Oh, god damn it! Mount Moon. Honestly, but whatever, the important part is I have a Goral, who knows 0...
okay.
new moves. Oh, god damn it! Mount Moon is the second dungeon.
Yeah. No, that's just part of the experience. Well, that's on you for for playing the wrong version of the game. Should have researched it before. I'm just poking fun at it. That's not a big deal.
in the game and the first point of no return. After you clear it, it's impossible to get back to Pewter City until you unlock access to Diglett's Cave in Vermilion. Mount Moon is your first introduction to Team Rocket, a group of Pokemon thieves that are plundering the mountain for Clefairy and fossils. They're all over the dungeon, but in truth you only have to fight maybe 3 or 4 to get through as they are actively blocking your path. This is an interesting decision because it means you get to decide how much you want to care about Team Rocket. Are you going to go through the process of stopping every grunt for the XP, or just take the ones that actively get in your way? That sounds like...
That's just normal NPC stuff in Pokemon. That's not... That's like every route has like one NPC that you have to be and a bunch of optional ones. That's every route in every game. That's not exclusive to this.
Like a weird thing to praise, but later games don't let you show this level of indifference to their evil teams. Toward the end, I picked up the Helix fossil because I'm a cringy bitch who thinks internet memes are funny. Coming into Cerulean is where you...
That is true. Praise Lord Helix.
You find your first mandatory rival battle. You know, there's an awful lot of debate about the whole mean rival v friendly rival dichotomy, but if I could take a moment...
Excuse me, why is Blue unfriendly rival? Why is he here? Oh, I'm gonna get mad at this video. I am gonna get so mad. I just noticed Hoppin' Nemona in restraining order. Oh, I am gonna get so angry. I'm gonna get so angry. I am the world's biggest hop defender in the world. You should not mess with me, Lily Orchard. Do not mess with me.
To have a hot take, I don't think Blue is a mean rival. I know much of Pokemon fandom is on the internet and people on the internet think making friends is hard, but Blue and Red always seem to me like really close friends. Blue can come off like a smarmy asshole, but I mean is 10. His dialogue always comes off more like good-natured slagging, like the two are always competing with each other, but in a fun way. I mean, his establishing character moment is effectively him saying, last one to complete the Pokedex is a rotten egg, and his catchphrase, smell ya later, is just see ya later with a different sense. And when you're 10, you think that's the height of comedy. And he's right, that is the height of comedy. Look at his actual dialogue in the game itself. He slags you off quite a bit, but never too much that it becomes unreasonable. He's a sore loser, but he talks to the player and gives them information like a kid going, hey, guess what I found? You should go check it out. I have no problem believing these...
Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. Changing expressions. This is getting real now. I don't agree. Blue is a total idiot kid. That is the point. I haven't played this game in a while, so I can't, like, quote it. But Blue is, like, a prick. And everyone knows that, you know? I'm not super, like, big on both, like, Gen 1 characters. But that's, like, universally known. Blue is, like, the de facto mean rival. And then he, like, gets better when you beat him. He gets, you know, the whole, the bigger they are, the higher the fall kind of thing. He gets to the top, and then you beat him 5 minutes later. And then he gets the whole character arc off screen, and he becomes, like, cool now, I guess. And then he goes, and he and Red marry, and they show up married in Sun and Moon, so that's pretty cool. Like, he's a prick. What the hell are you talking about?
These two are friends. In fact, this is the most believable rival friendship in the entire series because the two of you are in competition, but it's clearly a friendly one. I honestly don't even know why the term rival even exists. Most people in real life don't have rivals, much like how most people don't have enemies. I know the cartoon wrote Gary as an actual bully and full of himself rich kid, and I think people let that color their perception of Blue as a character. Then again, I have also noticed that people on the internet today are extremely touchy in regards to someone else simply seeming pompous. Internet dwellers treat arrogance like it's the single worst sin imaginable, and so I'm not surprised a lot of people took it weirdly personally when Blue slags the player off. We often blame children for the decisions of Game Freak, like the rival's characterization or the hand-holding the games are played with, but the truth of the matter is that people my age have been complaining about these games being too hard for a long time. Like, it wasn't Gen Z that made Whitney and Cynthia into a meme, or complained about a non-issue like the HMs. I honestly think one of the reasons characters like Charon and Bianca are so popular isn't because they have compelling character arcs, but because they kiss the player's feet. And I think...
Oh boy. Oh boy. Man. I don't know what the hell she's on. What the hell does she mean they kiss the player's feet? That just doesn't happen at all. In the game doesn't. It doesn't. In the slightest. Like, they talk to you and they're nice to you. Yeah. Because, you know, you're supposed to be childhood friends. That's kind of the whole thing. Like, dude, that's just not what happens. They have arcs. They do have arcs. Charon's arc is about how it's kind of like Silver's arc with the whole strength doesn't just come from having stronger Pokemon. It actually comes from how you are able to work with your Pokemon and how you treat them. And Bianca's arc is about finding freedom but and finding strength in yourself, but not like letting go of everything because of it. That's how I see it, at least. That's how I interpreted those arcs. And they're interesting arcs. And once again, Lily Orchard does not interact with the story. She does not engage. And then she gets mad about things that didn't happen. Or maybe she gets mad about things that did happen, but she thinks didn't. Oh, I get it. Because she's a lunatic with no friends. She thinks having friends is people kissing her feet. That's your... Hey, Lily, that's, you know, his words, not mine. Don't sue me. Man...
It's largely people my age who like that about them. They often say they don't, but I think that's just social desirability bias. Every gamer has a praise kink, no matter how hard they try to convince you otherwise. Lily, stop.
10 minutes! 10 minutes! We got a sex joke before 10 minutes! Let's go! This is gonna get egregious as we go, by the way. Because that's kind of like her only type of humor. Either degradation or sex jokes. Not self-degradation specifically, just degradation in general. Hell yeah.
And BDSM in a Pokemon. It works as a...
2 sex jokes on a game about children and animals, so... Hooray? I don't know what's going on. Whatever, man.
Metaphor, alright. I like Blue, and I like him specifically because he comes off like a more genuine friend than the sycophantic warbling of later rivals. Anyway, after helping Bill get out of his fursuit and getting a cruise ticket, we're finally able to challenge Misty. Actually, wait, was the gym even blocked off? I don't remember. Whatever, Misty is a water-type trainer, so Ivysaur's got this in the bag. Just constantly whipping those stars. Whip them good. See, I told you it worked as a metaphor. Second badge acquired.
Okay.
Vermilion City has only 2 things of note, the gym and the SSN. Oh yeah, also Diglett's Cave. The SSN is required to get to the gym, and it's crawling...
I was gonna criticize what you just said, but that's kind of true. Nobody cares about anything else in that city.
With optional trainers. You can just go right to your rival and the captain if you want, but I want that juicy XP, so I barged into every cabin and beat up everyone's pets like the completely reasonable person I am. I don't have a problem, fuck you. Now that I've cut, I can open the gym where... Oh, fuck, the trash puzzle. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, hey! Oh, hey! Okay, so I'm through the trash puzzle and I caught a Diglett, which means I win. Your X speed can't save you now. 3rd badge acquired. Now that I have the 3rd badge, I can go north to Saffron City and then west to Celadon. Actually, no, I can't because the guard is too thirsty to let me through. What I can actually do is go back...
I feel like there's something I could say here, but there isn't, like, anything. Just kind of a nothing part of the video, huh?
back to Cerulean City, take a roundabout route through this winding cliffside, go through a dangerous pitch-black tunnel, cut through a haunted oubliette, go through another underground tunnel, and then into Celadon. Just a small detour. I'd almost forgotten just how dreary the mid-game is. After you leave Rock Tunnel, your next task is to go through 2 back-to-back rocket areas, 3 if you decide to hammer out Silphco right away. You can skip the rocket hideout by using a Pokédoll on Marowak, but for sake of this video, I didn't. And going through the track of Team Rocket's hideout, then Celadon Gym, and then Pokemon Tower is not great. It's too...
I mean, that's just part of the game. What's not great about it? How is this any different from, like, going through routes? How is this different from, like, going through routes and fighting gyms? It's the kind of the same. Also, Team Rocket's cool. What's up about it? Wait, the dungeons aren't just dungeons, you know? There's cool stuff. There's a whole casino. You could gamble. That's fun. And, like, there's a whole finding out that the rocket hideout's in there thing. That's pretty cool. I like it. And the whole, like, Giovanni thing, also. Giovanni being a, what's it called? Reoccurring character that, like, he gets stronger as you fight him, and then he's kind of a secondary rival in a way. That's cool as well. I like this part of the game. I don't know why she doesn't. Dude, I feel like I'm in 2015 again. All of her jokes are just millennial bad comic strip humor. She is a millennial, I think. How old is she, actually? Give me a sec. Lily Archer. No, not sister. Age. 32. Yeah, she's a millennial. So, of course, all of her jokes are millennial jokes. Because she's a millennial.
Many dungeons and cities with very little overworld to break it up. And this is only compounded by the fact that the next area after this is the very long and very interesting area between Lavender Town and Fuchsia City. Gen 1's biggest problem is that it's often unevenly spaced, and a lot of the major areas are clustered in Celadon and Saffron. It's a similar issue I have with Goldenrod in Generation 2. Too much is crammed in here, and you end up spending way more time in this area than you'd ever want to at any other point.
You can just, like, leave. You could just not do some of the stuff, you know. That's a choice you have. The point is that the game is kind of non-linear. So you don't need to do all this stuff in, like, order. You could, like, go somewhere else, do something else. That's a choice you have.
Actually slammed out Celadon Gym first since Pidgeotto and Butterfree needed the easy XP, and since I was going to be in that basement for a while. Going to the game corner, you beat up the guard and dive into the basement for a series of moving tile puzzles, which, I don't wish to be melodramatic, are the worst fucking things in the game. Not because the movement itself is bad, but because it's so painfully slow.
Fair,
Later games
I was
speed
gonna
this
comment
up,
on
but
that.
wow, this is cursed. I move through one floor, get the lift key, move through the second, get to the elevator, we meet Giovanni for the first time. Giovanni's thing is ground-type Pokemon, unlike the rest of his team who uses Pokemon that are the easiest in the game to actually get. You know, that actually says something about Giovanni. Like, he went out of his way to import a Kangaskhan for himself, but just drags up whatever can be found on the cheap for all of his grunts. Makes no difference because this capitalist rat's going down. After that, we're heading...
Yeah, because he's, like, a bad guy. He's, like, a mafia member, and he's super rich, so he imports Pokemon and, like, has this cool team. And also, he's a gym leader. We're forgetting that. Of course, he has a themed team because he's a gym leader. So, of course, his Pokemon are ground type. Like, you don't know that at this part of the game, but she definitely knows that right now when she's saying this. So, I don't know why she's complaining when that's, like, a plot twist, an important plot twist that the corruption comes from inside and, like, that whole thing, you know. I don't know what she's just complaining about a non-issue. Like, not complaining, she's just pointing at something out when it's like, okay, yeah, it is like that. It's like foreshadowing. It's foreshadowing that he's a gym leader because his team is only ground types because he's a ground type gym leader. And that's why that gym is never open until you beat him a bunch of times because he is the gym leader of, forgot the name of the city, but you know what I mean.
It's a Lavender Town, the only real point of interest in this part of the game, which stands out by how bleak and sad the whole place is, and how migraine-inducing the music is because some dick decided, hey, let's make this track really loud and harsh and see how much we can torture the Game Boy speaker. They tortured that poor little speaker until it was begging for more. I mean, mercy. And frankly, I don't...
Third sex joke. Let's give it up for the third sex joke.
I think we needed to know what the effects of VR headsets would be if they were focused entirely on your ears, but somebody at Game Freak would apparently disagree. Whoever wrote these tracks owes me some Tylenol. Lavender Town is practically infamous for how sharp of a tonal shift it is, inspiring about 20,000 crappy ghost stories written by kids. But honestly, I think that's about the only real value Lavender Town has. Personally, I always found the Viridian Forest theme to be much creepier, but there's nothing as charming as reading some bad campfire story about the cartridge ejecting itself from the Game Boy at Mach 5 and lodging itself in your throat to punish you for looking at ghosts. Yeah, there's my hot take of the day. Lavender Town is actually kind of shit, and it's
hard to disagree, because Lavender Town is like an important part of world building, right? With the whole, I mean, the fact Pokemon can die is already world building enough, because you never see it happen, but they mention that it happens, and they like never really mention that again in such a direct way, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, no, it's like, okay, it's world building, and the whole Marowak thing and how Team Rocket killed the mother and whatever, you know, just telling you, making you even more sure that, you know, Team Rocket bad. And it's like not, yeah, the reputation Lavender Town got is that it's this creepy, spooky creepypasta place, but it's actually sad. It's not even scary. Like when you grow up, like when you're a kid, it's scary, but when you grow up, it's just sad. It's a place of like mourning, of like pets and like friends, kind of like mourning your actual pet, because they are pets in the Pokemon universe. They're super powered and they could probably kill people, but they are pets. So it's more so sad than scary when you think about it.
only entertainment value is kids scaring each other with rumors and creepypasta. Otherwise, it's just another too long dungeon that demonstrates how weak ghosts are to psychic in this game. This part of the game is open-ended,
like
but it's clear they want you
dungeons,
to go in a particular order because the levels of individual Pokemon do not actually compensate for which way you're going. After Erica, Koga and Sabrina have huge spikes in levels because the game assumes you're going to have gone through 3 entire dungeons before reaching them, and you'll have had to have gone through at least 2 of them to get to them anyway. You're not getting to Fuchsia City without the Pokeflute, and you're not going to Sabrina without Silphco. Sure, you can do them in any order if you're determined enough, but you still have to do all of them, and there is a very strict recommended order right on the trainer card. After the gauntlet that is Celadon and Lavender Town, you...
Okay, then what's the problem? I don't get it, okay? The game is non-linear and it doesn't adjust levels, but like you can... I don't get the issue here because she complained that the game doesn't make like Erica and Koga's gyms are like supposedly over leveled unless you do the dungeons. But then right after that she says, but you have to do 2 of the dungeons to get to them. So what's the problem? You're already leveled. I don't get it. Like, you can go there. Do the 2 dungeons, go there. And if you don't want to do Silphco straight up, just go there and then come back and do it. No, I agree that like games like this and Gen 9 should have variable level caps because that's implied to be a thing, that gym leaders have different teams depending on what level the trainer is on. But like, yeah, Johto too. But like, just like it's not that big of an issue. It's kind of boring, yeah, but it's not this huge issue. You can deal with it. Like, you're not forced into it, is the point.
You get to...
God, she's gonna despise Gen 9, isn't she?
go through the best route in the game, Route 12. It takes you through a bridge, over a coastline, down into a fenced path, and then back onto the main road to Fuchsia City. It's the longest route in the game, packed to the brim with trainers, and there's no rest stop at any point. This is one of the few points in the game that feels like you're actually traveling. The route is so expansive, and it actually takes a while to get to Fuchsia City. It replicates the arduous journey of traveling between towns as best as the Game Boy can. I love this route so much. It really captures what I mean about how Pokemon's difficulty is based primarily on endurance. Seriously, the next time you play a Kanto game, go through this route and fight every trainer without going back to heal at the center. It's an amazing experience. Arriving in Fuchsia City, Butterfree steamrolled through Koga's team with only one minor hiccup, requiring a switch out from Pidgeotto. I'm quite happy about that. Butterfree's actually been carrying the entire team since I stopped off in Saffron for Psychic, and I'm feeling very vindicated by this. See, I was watching old PokeTuber videos, because that's something I occasionally end up doing, and a common theme for Butterfree in Gen 1 is that she's good in the early game and not very good anywhere else. And like I said, I had a bone to pick about that, so I resolved to keep Butterfree on my party and sweep the game, and so Butterfree turning out to be my best Pokemon is very vindicating. I snagged the—
I've already talked about this, but once again, they're not wrong. Butterfree is weak after a certain point. When you compare it to other Pokemon, they're not saying Butterfree isn't viable. They're just saying you could have something better. Like, you could have like a Staryu or Starmie. Which one's the second one? It's Starmie, right? You could have a Starmie or like a Slowbro, or maybe even something that's neutral, like that isn't psychic. Well, Butterfree isn't psychic, but you... Is it psychic? No, it's bug flying. It's not psychic, but it has psychic moves, so who cares? Or you could have like a PGI, or fuck it, even Snorlax you could have at this point. It's... The point isn't that Butterfree is bad and unusable and you're an idiot if you do use it. That's not the point people are making. They're just saying that are better Pokemon. And that it's like, if you want to play optimally, these are the other Pokemon you should use. They're not saying you shouldn't use Butterfree or else you suck. They never said that. No one ever said that. She already inferred that Nemona's a creep, so yeah, I'm pretty sure she hates Gen 9. Yeah, no. She probably hates everything. She probably hates everything after this region, let's be honest.
The items I needed from the Safari Zone without much care, because I actually don't like the Safari Zone all that much. It was interesting for the rare Pokemon you could find there, but I've already got my team in mind and have no need for anything in.
Yeah, this is probably a hot take, but I don't like Safari Zone either. It's kind of boring. I don't like the mechanics. They're annoying. Yeah.
There, and not being able to battle them just makes the whole...
Ah, shit. I was gonna change my expression and I accidentally pressed a button. Shit, where the hell am I? I'm in Johto now. No.
Where to go. It's no surprise
I didn't mean to do that. Shit.
Because Rock Tunnel is mostly linear, you're always making for...
Oh, wait. She's talking about Rock Tunnel.
Out of his way to import...
Oh, this is bad.
Occasionally end up doing. And a common theme for Butterfree in Gen 1. And it's an intense maze. Is the worst area. Is on lockdown and... Damn it, that's the... My team actually don't like the Safari Zone all that much.
She's a Gen 1er. She is a Gen 1er. I'm pretty sure she is. I don't know. Maybe she likes other stuff. Maybe she likes like Gen 2, Gen 3, but she is seeming to be a Gen 1er. Unfortunately,
for the rare Pokemon.
Fortunately, because that just gives me another reason to justify my disliking of her, because I don't like Gen 1ers. They're boring. All gens are cool. All regions are cool. Hell yeah.
Could find there, but I've already got my team in mind and have no need for anything in there, and not being able to battle them just makes the whole ordeal annoying. This was the area I was least looking forward to, so we're moving on to... Damn it, that's even worse. There's a problem in Saffron City. So we're moving on to... Damn it, that's even worse. There's a problem in Saffron City in that most of the city is on lockdown until you clear out Team Rocket from Silphco. And I'll be honest, I think Silphco is the worst area in the entire series. It is a labyrinthine dungeon that you have to use these extremely awkward teleporters to zip from room to room until you find the card key, and it's an intense maze of locked doors, teleporters, and just the worst kind of rocket fights in the entire damn series. And I am including Gen 2's radio tower in that. Oh my fucking god. If you know...
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, to be fair, I have a pretty, like, good sense of direction, but I don't think it's that bad. It's not that hard, man. Like, just Just do the dungeon. And if you don't like it, search it on the internet. It's not 1999 anymore. You can just do that.
Know exactly where to go or cheat it and look at the map like I did because fuck this dungeon. It's not long, but if you don't, like most people don't, oh my god, this is arduous. You're lost in this maze, having your resources chipped away on more and more fights, and there's a fight with Sketchy right before Giovanni. This dungeon and Pokemon Tower both have places to heal mid-dungeon. No other area in the game has that. I think that's the point you can say the dungeon.
Is she ever gonna talk about like Pokemon designs, the characters? No, she's not. She doesn't talk about Pokemon designs, I'm pretty sure. I mean, she talks about a few that she really likes, but generally, no, that's not a main focus. And the characters, mostly just arrivals. If they're important to the story, she does mention them, but like, generic, well, not generic, but like gym leaders and stuff like that, she doesn't mention them, no.
Is too big. And I'd be fine with how big it was if it wasn't so dull. If there was a clear forward progression. But this can be the shortest place in the game if you know which.
You know, it's funny that she says that because I'm pretty sure she said when I accidentally skipped, she said that Rock Tunnel's good. So what the hell is she on?
Which teleporter actually gets you to where you want to go. It's this one.
Gen 2 sucks as a game, but at least Emiya has overall the best Pokemon designs, so that's why I kind of like it. Overall Pokemon designs is sad. Yeah, some of my favorites are from Gen 2 as well. Like Ampharos, Larvitar, that stuff. I don't know if, like, I think Gen 2 is good. I don't think it's, like, that bad, as people say. There was a switch up recently on Gen 2 that I don't think it's that warranted. Like, it has its bad side, yes. It's like, the game is more so just, I feel like the game is more Kanto, but there's also this other region. Like, the game is supposed to be like both of the regions are the full game. Like, Kanto isn't really a post-game thing. It's actually a main game thing, in my opinion. But either way, it's just bleh, you know. I'm just neutral on Gen 2. I like Heart Gold, Soul Silver. That's what I think.
See, I actually quite liked Rock Tunnel. No one trainer battle is going to really.
You just like Silphco, but you like Rock Tunnel. Rock Tunnel, of all things. Rock Tunnel is better than Silphco. No, it's not. In any way. What is she talking about? Rock Tunnel, the dungeon where you can't see unless you have Flash, which is optional, by the way. You can go into it and then get stuck. And with no way out except if through luck, that dungeon is better than Silphco. The one that, the worst part about it is just that it has a few teleports. That's it. That's the worst dungeon. And this is the best dungeon. You are insane if you think that. You should be in a mental hospital for that.
Challenge you outside of the boss fights, but instead you're draining PP,
review of the
losing
Pokemon
health,
franchise.
running out of healing items, and there's no restoration
Yeah.
or mart until you reach the next town. Rock Tunnel actually is a Pokemon Center right outside because it is a gauntlet, something Gen 2 did as well with Union Cave. And as you get through, there's more and more trainers in your way, dwindling your resources. But because Rock Tunnel is mostly linear, you're always making forward progress. And while losing can restore your health and PP, it costs half your money to do it. This, incidentally, is why you can't buy PP restoring items. It's why PP exists at all. This game is very unforgiving to your PP. Lele, knock it off. This is actually a really good approach to gameplay. Most trainers don't have more than one or two Pokemon, but you're not just up against one trainer, you're up against all of this. But Silphco has more trainers than Rock Tunnel, it's got a layout designed to confuse you, and it's right in the middle of a city, so nothing is stopping you from taking the elevators to the lobby and going to the Pokemon Center and healing up. It's just the worst dungeon in the entire game.
She's complaining that it's easier. Wouldn't it be better that the maze dungeon is easier? because you're not like wiping all the time, meaning that you know the path back to where you were when you go back to heal and then come back. Isn't that better? No, that's the thing. She's being like, she can't decide if she likes gauntlets or not. Because in a way, Silphco is also a gauntlet, and she hates it. But she likes Rock Tunnel because it's a gauntlet. They are the same dungeon. There is no difference between them. I don't know what. Just buy items. It's not that hard.
Fucking despise it. People complained about Rock Tunnel because you needed to use flash or wander around blindly, and we'll get into HMs in a little bit because I actually like them, but it's actually very well designed, a very meaty...
What? Did she just say she likes HMs? Huh. Yeah, no. That's no from me, boss.
Challenge for where it is in the game, and very satisfying to get through, especially since it's a transitory period of the second act of the game. There's no cheating through it. You have to go through it in this one direction, which means this one direction is very interesting. Oh fuck, that was another H-bomb quote, wasn't it? Silphco is just obtuse for the sake of obtuse, and can be effectively skipped over if you're crafty enough. So it's either unbearably grueling or terminally short and easy with no middle ground. And the gym after...
What then? Why are you complaining? Just skip it! Literally just skip the thing. Like, if you hate it so much, just skip it. Don't do it. You just said you can skip it. So do. Like, she's complaining about something that she can just go around and not do. Like,
where it also features a teleporter pad puzzle that, again, you...
The problem with HMs is that you can't remove them. No, I think the main problem with HMs is that you need a designated Pokemon, or you need to waste your actual Pokemon slots to use them. And it's just really boring. I want to use my Pokemon with the moves that I want. I don't want to use an HM unless I want to use it. She is a Gen 1er, huh?
Either try every pad and get lucky, or know exactly where to go. It's no surprise they didn't do this kind of gym puzzle a second time. Now this is the part where...
Didn't they do this in, like, Gen 6? In the Fairy-type gym? I'm pretty sure they did another teleport puzzle.
I'm supposed to talk about how powerful the Psychic type is and how broken and overwhelming it is. Everyone talks about it and how obscenely powerful the Psychic types are. Here's the thing, though. That's only true in theory. Psychic's power comes from a large variety of stab moves, and its two weaknesses either not being coded properly or possessing no moves of decent power. Sure. But one thing we're going to run into later is that the Pokemon community operates as if stab super effective moves are the only things that exist. You remember how I mentioned I had a bone to pick with Poketubers? Well, here it is. This is why Butterfree is often derided as a low-tier Pokemon, because she doesn't learn stab moves. But the thing is...
No, Butterfree is a low-tier Pokemon because it has really bad base stats, and it doesn't have good moves, and it's a bug type and flying type, meaning that it is really weak against a lot of types and not really that good against many, and she's just not good. That's why Butterfree is a low tier, not because she doesn't have stab. She has stab, but at the same time, Butterfree is a bug flying type. That's not the strongest type, let's be honest. One of the weakest that we have, I would argue. Very not good type combination. Like, okay, you can deal with grass types 2 times, and fighting types, and like other bug types, I guess. But you get absolutely destroyed by rock types, and electric types, and fire types, and ice types. And like, what else? And other flying types. And yeah. Butterfree has 2 quad Butterfree has 2 quad weaknesses. Because it's a bug flight. It's weak against rock and it's weak against What was the other one? I forgot. Shit. Whatever. I mean, stab on a move that has 33% chance to lower special attack and special defense and is resistant on all base up and that has no... is in fact really fucking good. Yeah, like... it's kind of busted. Sorry. Why did I think it was 2? Why the hell did I think it was 2? What am I on, man? No, ice types. Ice types. Because it's good against ice and rock. Because rock is good against both bug and flying. And ice is also good against bug and flying. You're the hashtag fake fan, Dime. Fuck you. Never fight me again. I'm not talking only Gen 1. That's probably why you're thinking it's just 1. It's not just Gen 1, it's other gens as well. Yeah, it's another case of people aren't saying that you are an idiot. They are super effective against bug. I'm pretty sure they are. Ice type chart. I'm sure of it. I'm pretty sure of it. Why would they not be super effective against bug? Why isn't this? I'm not talking to Gen 1. I'm talking in general. Okay, I guess I was wrong. Oh. Pokemon type chart. Open this shit up. Attack ice. Oh, it really isn't. What the hell? I'm going insane. Okay, you're right. Damn.
Other strategies
I am a
exist.
fake fan.
Butterfree
What the
might
hell?
not have stab moves, but she has an array of status moves.
I forgot. I was gonna say something. It's another case of Lily being like, believing that people are like persecuting her because she doesn't want to use a busted type, when that's not the case. They're not saying that you're an idiot for not wanting to use psychic type. They're just saying that psychic type is like, objectively speaking, better than other types in this situation. Same thing for Butterfree. They're not saying you're an idiot for using it. They're just saying there are better options. That's it. Psychic types aren't invincible, yeah. They can be beat, but in Gen 1 they are super strong because they are some of the best choices that you have. Because Ghost type is broken, so they have like almost no weakness, basically. And like, you know, that whole thing.
Sleep is godlike in this game.
Hello, how are you? I'm doing fine. Yeah.
And she's one of the early...
Oh, I'm not doing fine. I'm mad, actually, at the video, but, you know. Gen 1 normal type is better than Gen 1 psychic type, but again, psychic type are still busted. Yeah. I mean, normal type is insane in Gen 1, but that doesn't change the fact that psychics are, like, strong.
sleepers, and you don't need stab to do some pretty meaty damage either way. Neutral attacks are still a thing. Status moves are still a thing. Alakazam might have high special, but his physical defense is in the toilet. And a decent physical move, even if it isn't super effective, is going to body the fucker. These Pokemon are overpowered
if you're someone who try to sell me something, don't even try it. I know how this goes. You're gonna like tell me to follow you on Twitter so you can DM me, so you can sell me stream layouts. I'm not interested.
Thinks having no weaknesses means you can't be killed, but that's never been the case. We all beat Sabrina as kids after all, and chances are you beat the kid who had Mewtwo. In fact, despite how supposedly powerful psychic types are, Sabrina has never been memed on as heavily as Whitney or Cynthia have been in the past. And shit, Cynthia's Garchomp has a 4x weakness and is still considered brutally difficult even though she has a Pokemon with no weaknesses. The truth of the matter is that Alakazam just doesn't have the...
I'm pretty sure that's just because the internet was still small during that time, and it was like, you know, 6-7-year-olds that were playing this. So it's like, okay, maybe not that young, maybe like 10. So of course they didn't meme on it because they didn't have access to the internet. Gen 2, they did. Gen, like, 4, obviously they did. This is Gen Z already. Gen 4 is already, like, Gen Z area. Gen 1 isn't. Gen 1 is millennial stuff. She just takes every single criticism that she finds wrong with this personal attack on her. Yes! Yes, she does. That is exactly what she does.
Moves available to him to really take out his real weaknesses, physical attackers. To be as broken as people claim Alakazam is, he would need a much wider variety of moves, and he's just never really had that. But Gen 1 Psychic types just weren't that broken to begin with. Just use Slash. Like, ever. Technically,
I'm just... You know what? I'm just gonna keep going with the video. I've said everything I have to say about this.
the next area is Seafoam Islands, but let's be honest, when was the last time you actually went through Seafoam Islands? Yeah, I thought so. I certainly didn't. I surfed south from Palatown, you fucking scrub. Out of all the gyms, I think Blaine is my favorite. Fire-type Pokemon are rare in damn near every Pokemon game.
I don't know why she skipped Seafoam Islands. Seafoam Islands is cool. It has like Articuno and shit. I think that's pretty awesome.
So a fire-type gym is always a welcome challenge, but his trivia questions were something I always thought was very cute. It's better than maneuvering around gym trainers like someone who's just dropped a really eggy fart and is trying not to be noticed about it. Oh right, but first you have to go through the Pokemon Mansion. You know, I forget about this dungeon every single time I play this game, and then I just spam repels and try not to battle anyone. I feel Pokemon Mansion should be the coolest dungeon, but it's in a city and so suffers from similar issues that Silphco does. The access to a Pokemon Center nearby renders the things that make the dungeons interesting completely moot. Seventh bad.
Why? No. I mean, if that's the case, then Pokemarts make every dungeon boring because you can just buy and spam potions. It's not that big of a deal. Blaine is like the worst coded boss in Gen 1, but because I'm not an idiot, I'm gonna say it's fine if she likes it. I mean, there's a lot of badly coded stuff in Gen 1, so I don't think that's really a measure. I find Blaine cool. He's cool. He's okay. That's all I can say about him.
Acquired. Swing back to Viridian, give Giovanni a midlife crisis, then head out for the Pokemon. Actually, hang on. I actually really like Giovanni. He's a much more real...
Good opinion from Lily Orchard? I have a problem with what she likes, pretty much. I have a problem with what she is. Yes, I agree. Like, the stuff she likes is pretty, like... I agree with a lot of it. A lot of the time. But she loves disliking things that are good. And for the wrong reasons. Even if they're not good, she dislikes them for the wrong reasons.
Villain than any other evil team. He just wants to exploit Pokemon for financial gain. He could just as easily be the Mafia or Amazon. But what I really...
He is the Mafia. What do you mean he could be the Mafia? He is the Mafia. His name is Giovanni. And he is the leader of a criminal organization. What do you think he's supposed to be? He is the Mafia.
What I like is that after the third time you beat him, he just goes, I had my entire empire toppled by a small child. What the fuck is wrong with me? What am I doing with my life? I am a failure of the highest order. And he just quits and goes into hiding and hangs out in a cave for the rest of his life. You humiliated this guy.
There's a YouTuber I watched that tries beating Pokemon games with only one Pokemon, and whenever he plays Gen 1, he tries to be playing as early as possible because of how badly coded he is. What do you mean? How is Blaine badly coded? I don't really get it. Sometimes Blaine uses super potions while their Pokemon have full HP. Okay, that's pretty funny, actually. Maybe he thinks there's an overheal, like, thing.
So badly, he had a midlife crisis. And in Heart Gold...
Shit, what's my expression currently? Okay, we're fine.
And Soul Silver, you could beat him again and make him even more depressed. He's actually kind of pathetic. I love torturing the elderly. Anyway, after that...
He's like 40, 50. I don't think he's elderly, but okay.
And a quite invigorating run through Victory Road, my points about Rock Tunnel still stand here. I make it to the Elite Four. Lorelei was probably the most difficult of the bunch, simply because ice types are the major blind spot in my knowledge. I know they're weak to fire, but I don't know anything else about how they work. Butterfree swept both Bruno and Agatha. I'll be honest, I didn't think she could do it. Two of them are rock type, and I thought it would at least be a struggle, but it was...
To be fair, it doesn't really matter if you know anything about ice type or not, because ice type sucks.
It was a massacre. I love this little bug. And then Lance was swept by Starmie. Yeah, the Elite Four wasn't really much to write home about, honestly. It's one of those challenges that was really cool as a kid for the spectacle, but as a gameplay challenge, it hasn't held up. But that's fine. It's an old game, and frankly, I think the first 4 gens are at a good place difficulty-wise. They're just hard enough to keep your brain engaged, and as a kid, some of these challenges can seem insurmountable, but they really push you to figure out simple problems in your head, which is something kids need to be constantly exercising. It's good for them. Moving on to Sketchy, it was a mostly okay fight. Again, the spectacle is what made it matter, but his Alakazam did get off a cheeky little reflect before I knocked him out, buffing his team against physical attacks, which was uncalled for. In fact, he did knock out more of my Pokemon than I was prepared for. His Executor in particular was a stubborn little bitch.
Now she's just like telling us how the game went for some reason.
I really wanted to take out his last Pokemon with Butterfree, but alas, it was not meant to be. But Starmie pulled through for me, and it was all good. We're all good. And that's Gen 1. All in all, I think it still holds up. Any ranking of the generations, and I am going to rank them at the end, really ought to have Gen 1 play smack dab in the middle. All the usual obligatory praises about being the trendsetter are one thing, but the real thing that keeps me coming back to it is freedom. Generation 1 is in this weird position with Gen 2 because they're both very free-form games. Starting from Gen 3, but really picking up speed in Gen 4, Pokemon became more linear, more JRPG. Game Freak started...
Yeah, wait, she just said JRPG. It isn't JRPG. It's an RPG that is Japanese. It is a JRPG. What did she mean by this? No, in fact, that's not how Reflect works on Gen 1. Gen 1 Reflect is infinite, but only applies to the Pokemon that it's set up. It goes off when it's... Oh, that's pretty interesting. Did not know that. And she didn't either, so... Yeah.
They get very pushy. They wanted to start telling you how to play instead of letting you play on your own. The games were more railroaded, more insistent on directing you. Mechanics would be removed for seemingly no reason. Some people claim this started in Gen 6, but it really picked up steam in the DS games. Generation 1 doesn't have this problem. Because the cartridge wouldn't hold enough data, there's no story getting in your way, no pushy attitudes from the devs getting in your way, and just no... annoyances. The annoyances in this game mostly just come from roadblocks. I'd forgotten just how padded the mid-game truly is, something I never hear anyone talk about because everyone just focuses on the features, which is what I find is the problem. This is why I wanted to do it this way. I want to focus on the gameplay and not the toys. But even with that hurdle to get over...
Wait, what does she mean? I don't get what she just said. Let me go back. I really didn't get that.
Insistent on directing you. Mechanics would be removed for seemingly no reason. Some people claim this started in Gen 6, but it really picked up steam in the DS games. Generation 1 doesn't have this problem. Because the cartridge wouldn't hold enough data, there's no story getting in your way, no pushy attitudes from the devs getting in your way, and just no... annoyances. The annoyances in this game mostly just come from roadblocks. I'd forgotten just how padded the mid-game truly is, something I never hear anyone talk about because everyone just focuses on the features, which is what I find is the problem. This is why I wanted to do it this way. I want to focus on...
What does she mean by that? Like... What does she mean by the toys? There isn't... She thinks that the dungeons are padding, which is not really correct. It's the story. Pokemon designs are the story. Like, if it was in the further games, I would get it. Like, she means, like, Mega Evolution, Z Crystals, Dynamax, Terra. But here, I don't really get it. Like, Gen 1 doesn't have something like that. It's just... the base of everything, you know? So this is just a weird thing to say. And also, no, the game isn't padded. That is the story that you refuse to engage with. That is a problem that we're probably gonna see a lot of. So Let's just keep going. We're already at the end of Kanto.
gameplay and not the toys. But even with that hurdle to get over, I still prefer the
The story isn't a toy. It's part of the experience. You can dislike the story, but to say that it's unnecessary is just stupid.
adventure.
Because it's supposed to be part of the experience. You can't just say that everything you don't like is unnecessary and shouldn't exist. That's not how reviewing works.
And the openness. To me, the ideal Pokemon adventure is Ash's adventure, where you're going on your own personal journey. Maybe you run into a new conflict in a given city, but at the end of the day, it's still your journey to make of it what you will, and that will continue to have value so long as Game Freak continues to try to make Pokemon into Final Fantasy.
No, she says that, but she's probably gonna hate Gen 9 when that's the whole point of Gen 9. Just wanted to mention that.
So moving on to Generation 2, this was a big deal. Game Freak managed to take a game that was already big by Game Boy standards and make it even bigger. More Pokemon, an entirely second region, an update on what had happened since you've last been there. How did Game Freak manage to pull off something so spectacular? Well, I'll tell you how. They got someone else to do it. President of HAL Laboratory Satoru Iwata came in and fixed their Frankenstein's monster of code. Code that was so bad Nintendo's entire team of programmers couldn't decipher it, let alone fix it. But thankfully, someone competent was in the office, and so we got to experience the best pair of Game Boy games to ever exist. Or are they? Let's dive right in. Right from the...
I don't think that story's true. I don't think that's true at all. But okay.
start, the
I'm not sure what she's getting that from, but I doubt that that is true.
Force tutorials are slowly creeping their ways in, because when you tell your mother you already know what the Pokegear is, she just explains it to you anyway, but in a way that suggests she's asking you to show her how to use it. She's sneaky, that mother of mine. Anyway, I chose Chikorita, because it's correct. Bulky Pokemon do really well in these early...
To be fair, every starter is pretty cool. You know, this isn't really a good retrospective because she isn't really mentioning like anything about the actual Pokemon. That's such a weird choice. Like, I get wanting to have a focus on the gameplay, but the video is called Pokemon A Complete Retrospective. It's incomplete because it's not mentioning, you know, the Pokemon.
games, and Chikorita gets early access to Reflect and Synthesis, two very potent moves. Reflect especially because 3 out of 5 grass weaknesses are physical, and so Reflect neutralizes their damage. Couple that with Meganium's naturally high defensive stats, and you have a good all-rounder Pokemon. The introduction for Generation 2 is a lot longer than Generation 1 was. Not only do you have to walk farther, but there's just more dialogue overall. We talk about Pokemon games becoming handholdy as if it was some major shift, but as you're going to see, each game slowly becomes more and more directed and structured. After all that, I fight my rival, go back to name him. Now, I think Silver is one of the less interesting rivals. He's just an edgy, sore loser who slags off
Wrong. Bah, bah. You're wrong. Bah.
everyone around him and talks about how great and strong and special he is, all the while getting bodied every time you see him. He reminds me too much of Hop, just with a worse attitude.
Oh, fuck you.
Dude, he's a loser and an edgelord. Actually, since
how does that have anything to do with Hop? In the slightest. What does that have to do with him? That he fights you? If you want to compare him to a Gen 8 rival, mention like... How do you even say his name? Bede? You know the guy. The fucking... I don't want to say that word. The boy. The other one. The bully. Which, by the way, she didn't even mention him when she showed, like, main rivals, friendly rivals, and restraining order. God, I am gonna get so mad when Gen 8 shows up. I'm, like, such a big Gen 8 defender. I'm a big Gen 8 apologist, and I'm just gonna despise this video when we get there. Also, I just noticed she hid the like and dislike thing. She hid the likes.
I'm here. When you first beat your rival, he says, "My name's question mark, question mark, question mark." And I want to know, when you...
Because that's what they say in the song. Like, in his song, you can hear his name in Spade, I'm pretty sure.
first played this game, Did you name him question mark, question mark, question mark? I mean, technically that's his name. It's a weird fucking name, but it is his name. In the remakes, they changed that to you seeing his trainer card and not specifying his name, but here, your parents never even gave you a chance, did they? No,
I didn't get it. Wait, I wasn't
says, my name's question mark, question getting bodied every time you see him. He reminds me too much of Hop, just with a worse attitude. He's a loser and an edgelord. Actually, since I'm here, when you first beat your rival, he says, my name's question mark, question mark, question mark. And I want to know, when you first played this game, did you name him question mark, question mark, question mark? I mean, technically that's his name. It's a weird fucking name, but it is his name. In the remakes, they changed that to you seeing his trainer card and not specifying his name, but here, your parents never even gave you a chance, did they? No matter, I'll correct that mistake. I'll give him a name that suits the pathetic loser he truly is. So I named him Kyle Ron. On Route 29, I snagged a Caterpie.
Okay, well, that's a fair criticism. That is pretty weird. Did not know about that, but okay.
Which would also become a front runner of my team like the last time. And in fact, I set the challenge for myself that I was going to beat Whitney with only a Butterfree. I also snagged a Geodude because I feel like having a rocky girl on my team. I never used.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. Why compare him to Hop? They have nothing to do with each other. Not a single thing. I can't think of anything other than, like, being related to an important character and, like, I don't know, fighting you frequently, I guess. They have nothing to do with each other. Not even their arcs are similar. What?
Geodude before. This might be fun. The first thing I did in Violet City was head right to Sprout Tower. It's the first major dungeon, and it's actually a pretty good one. Like with Rock Tunnel, it's a fixed linear path to your destination with plenty of trainers and wild Pokemon, so it's an endurance test rather than a puzzle dungeon. But like the Rocket Hideout in Silphco, it's located in a city, which means you can always double back to the Pokemon Center. This is something they keep doing, and I wish they would stop. Actually, compared to Sprout Tower, Violet's gym is kind of a pushover. I mean, most of my Pokemon...
I really don't get her obsession with that. Lily, why are you losing to Faulkner? Why are you losing to Faulkner? How are you losing to Faulkner? You have a Geodude. How are you doing this? What? Huh? I like Sprout Tower. I agree with her that it's cool, but I still don't get the whole thing with complaining about Pokemon centers being next to dungeons. Just don't go to the Pokemon Center then. That's a choice you have. The game isn't forcing you to do it. Just don't. Like, not that big of a deal. Yeah, no, how is she losing to Faulkner? That's like the easiest gym battle ever. I'm pretty sure. He's like the weakest gym leader of all times. How are you losing?
Pokemon were injured and fainted, but I didn't lose. Chikorita and Metapod handled most of them until Geodude came out to finish off Pidgeotto. First badge acquired, and Metapod evolved. And now I have a murder bug.
Who I will feed the souls of my victims.
Heading out to Union Cave, Butterfree's bloodlust proved unquenchable as she slaughtered every last Pokemon and trainer who got in my way. Geodude, on the other hand, she wasn't having as good of a time, but I needed to level her up because the next gym was a bug gym, and bugs don't like rocks. I would know. I tested this theory very thoroughly as a child. This is where the railroading gets a little ridiculous. The process for Azalea Town is talk to Kurt, clear out the well, beat the gym, do the Farfetch quest, then move on. And they really want you to do it in that order. They not only put a rocket grunt blocking the way to the gym, but also the well until you talk to Kurt, who knocks him in and falls in himself. But Kurt's broken his hip and therefore can't help. It's almost like diving headfirst into a well isn't a smart decision, but that's just my opinion. And so I have to clear it out instead. The rocket grunts use mostly poison types, so Butterfree and Geodude got this. The rocket fights in Gen 2 are actually the least interesting part of the game. There's one stretch later that goes on for far too long where it's nothing but rocket fights over and over again, but this part right here is just a taste of how dreary it is. Team Rocket was interesting when it had Giovanni, but seeing them sort of beaten down and looking for their leader is just odd. Team Rocket was a criminal organization. They were exploiting Pokemon for money. If the group fell apart, just join another one. Why are you sticking around looking for Giovanni like he's your dad? See, part of what...
Doesn't this game happen within, like, I don't know, a year of the previous one? Like, maybe they don't wanna. Maybe they're loyal. They're loyal to their leader. Like, that's not really that difficult to think of. Oh my god. Oh my god, I just noticed. Oh my god. She's gonna hate Sun and Moon, isn't she? Because she doesn't like reading. And she doesn't like engaging with a story. She's gonna hate Sun and Moon. She's gonna hate Sun and Moon, and she's gonna probably hate Team Skull. Gauntlet, cave where you can't see equals good gauntlet. Cave where you can't see equals bad. True. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
What made Team Rocket fun was that they were a very real villain, but also so pathetic they could be undone by a small child. At the end of the game, Giovanni just breaks down and quits because he knows he'll never recover from the humiliation of being beaten by a little girl 3 times with a frog and a butterfly. Ooh, I have all these cool masculine Pokemon and chirp chirp, motherfucker. But here they just want Crime Daddy back, and I almost feel bad about kicking them when they're down. Bugsy, on the other hand, can fuck right off. Okay, so both Azalea Town and Goldenrod City have leaders whose main gimmick is using attacks that get progressively stronger after consecutive hits. Now, this kind of fight is basically screaming use sleeper accuracy moves because there's no tanking 5 hits from Fury Cutter or Rollout, and it took me just a little longer than I'd like to admit that Scyther was a flying type and so Mud Slap wasn't actually going to work. But then I remembered that means he's 4 times weak to Rock Throw, and I almost realized that just a little bit too late. So between the 2 bad Mud Slaps and the missed Rock Throw, he got up to 4 stacks of Fury Cutter. If I hadn't hit that last one, he would have one-shot everyone.
I left the video playing while I was out. Hooray! Oh boy. Hopefully you didn't, like... Where did I leave my headphones? What the hell? Oh, here. As I was saying, hopefully you didn't see anything awful that I didn't see as well. So, change back. I'm gonna change to this one. I never use this one. Okay. Let me go back a bit.
Her up because the next gym was a bug gym, and bug.
No, that's a little bit too much.
There is. Could be undone by a small child. At the end of the game, Giovanni just breaks down and quits because he knows he'll never recover from the humiliation of being beaten by a little girl 3 times with a frog and a butterfly. Ooh, I have all these cool masculine Pokemon and chirp chirp, motherfucker. But here they just want Crime Daddy back, and I almost feel bad about kicking them when they're down. Bugsy, on the other hand, can fuck right off. Okay, so both Azalea Town and Goldenrod City have leaders whose main gimmick is using attacks that get progressively stronger after consecutive hits. Now, this kind of fight is basically screaming use sleeper accuracy moves because there's no tanking 5 hits from Fury Cutter or Rollout, and it took me just a little longer than I'd like to admit that Scyther was a flying type and so Mud Slap wasn't actually going to work. But then I remembered that means he's 4 times weak to Rock Throw, and I almost realized that just a little bit too late. So between the 2 bad Mud Slaps and the missed Rock Throw, he got up to 4 stacks of Fury Cutter. If I hadn't hit that last one, he would have one-shot everyone on my team. This has been a certified Lily Orchard bimbo moment because I'm...
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe you're just not very good at the game. But I can't say anything because I thought Ice was strong against Bug, so...
I'm 30 and somehow a game for children is getting one over on me. Second badge acquired. Anyway, then you have your first real fight with your rival, and I crushed him with Butterfree, whose bloodlust was sated. For now. And I take back what I said before. Kyle Ron isn't one of the less interesting rivals. He's the worst fucking rival in the entire damn series.
Wrong.
I fucking hate
I don't know which one would be the worst rival. Probably Gen 6, right? It's probably Gen 6, yeah.
this kid. See, in Gen 1, you and your boyfriend have a good dynamic. You playfully slag each other off, but there's affection and competitive spirit there. Gen 2's rival
This characterizing already? Okay.
just shows up, rants about his strongman rhetoric, loses to you, and then overcompensates. And he never gets any better unless you go way too far out of your way to find the special events with him, which I never did because I don't care about his redemption arc. He's just this...
Okay, so you're mad that the character is... Wait. You're complaining that the character is just making repetition when you're the one actively avoiding the scenes where he changes. Why? You are the one at fault for this. Like, there's no way around it. It's just you. Like, I get not wanting to keep seeing him again and again, but you can't complain that the character doesn't change and then say, I don't care that he changes because I didn't do the part where he changes. That's on you! You didn't engage with it! That's your fault, not the game's fault! That is entirely your fault. Like, what? What kind of criticism is that? Oh, this is bad because I didn't want to pay attention to the part that makes it good. Yeah! That's how it works! If you ignore the part that makes it good, it's gonna be bad! I'm going crazy. I'm actually going crazy. I'm gonna go crazy because of this video. Oh my god, we're 30 minutes in on a 6-hour video. I'm gonna have to split this between streams. I'm not gonna be able to watch this all in one stream. No way. Because we're almost 2 hours in and we're 30 minutes into the video. I am gonna have to split this.
Obnoxious burden every time he shows up, and I resent the rest of the fanbase for fixating on him and acting like he was the best rival just because he was broody and emo. That's the only reason.
You are the one who ignored the part of his story that makes it good. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, I've seen a few people say he's the best rival. He's a good rival. But, like, I don't know what she's on, man. Episode decided I gotta leave at 7. I'm probably gonna finish Johto and I'm gonna end. Depends on how much it takes, how long it takes. It's probably gonna take a while, so yeah, but I'm probably gonna start like publishing VODs, so yeah.
You like this guy because he was emo, and that's what you think good writing is. Silver
That's
and Hop
not
are
what
fundamentally the same
happened!
character. It's just that one of them is superficially emo and the other isn't. Fuck Silver. Okay, so Gold
What?
the same character. It's just that one of that's what you think good writing is. Silver and Hop are fundamentally the same character. It's
What are you on? What are you saying? They're not. They're not even close to the same. I don't like you. I do not like you, Lily Orchard. You are my enemy. I have just decided you are my lifelong enemy from now on. Oh my god. Oh my god, how am I gonna finish this video ever? How am I gonna get through 6 hours of this? We're not even 1/6 of the way. How am I gonna do this? Let's just go back to it, shall we?
Just that one of them is superficially emo and the other isn't. Fuck Silver. Okay, so Goldenrod City is packed to the gills with things to do. It's almost insane. There are a mountain of daily events here, tons of nooks and crannies all over the place. I think there's more stuff in Goldenrod than any other city in any other game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do any of it because 16 years of being tortured and tormented by World of Warcraft has meant that your daily quests can fuck right off. This is where we brush up against the core philosophy of Gen 2. See, a common complaint about Gen 2 is the level curve. While Pokemon and trainers remain at a low level, but there isn't enough XP to keep an entire team even as a result. But the truth of the matter is that there is enough XP, it's just that it's not immediately apparent. You know all those trainers asking for your phone number to rematch and how the game is laid out in such a way that it's easier to backtrack to certain areas? Yeah, there it is. All those areas you missed and didn't come back to later, there it is. See, these games weren't designed to be played by a progression-minded player who's just trying to record for silly internet video. They were designed for a handheld system that you could take anywhere, being used by children who had entire lunch hours, afternoons, and weekends to fuck around and find out. When you were a kid, you didn't have this problem because you went back to check out the rest of Union Cave once you got surfed, or explored Mount Mortar, or explored the ruins of Alph, or looked around at all those extra areas hidden away wondering what could be down there. As an adult, you already know the progression path and you follow it religiously. And the thing about Japanese open world games is that they don't really lose sleep over whether or not players miss anything. So there's plenty of extra paths to find, and the game isn't really all that bothered if you don't. Most of the caves, especially Mount Mortar and Dark Cave, are completely optional. You know, sometimes I wonder if there's a correlation between this, my generation complaining that the XP curve is fucked, and modern Pokemon games leading you by the throat through every single possible site and being terrified you might miss something. Where was I? Oh, right. So I smashed through Whitney with Butterfree and...
I never played the original Gold and Silver games, so I'm not, like, certain on this. I can't say for the original ones, but the remakes don't have that issue. You can just, like... I never had an issue with levels. And also, your job is reviewing shit on the internet. Like, you can just... You have the time. And if you don't have the time, you can just search it on the internet. It's not that big of a deal. And if you don't want to go to new places, just grind. Or like hack rare candies in. That's what everyone does. This is a non-issue. We're living in the fucking we're living in 2024. You don't have to play by the game's rules if you don't wanna. If that makes you have a better experience, just do it. Like, no one's gonna complain. It's a single player game. Yeah, and you're probably playing on an emulator. You're not playing on a Game Boy, let's be honest. She went this long without mentioning how this game added a day and night cycle. She went this long without mentioning that Dark and Steel types have been added. She hasn't mentioned it a single time. None. 0 times. Have you noticed that? No mention of day and night cycle, yeah. So, like, she's probably not going to mention, like, Eevee at all, and Espeon and Umbreon. Meaning that she's also not mentioning Dark types, probably, and Steel types. Which is such a weird thing. She does have a problem in JTV. I don't get it. He's okay. He's a good creator, I think. I've watched a few of his videos. They're fun. Like, I don't watch him frequently, but, like, the ones that I've watched are pretty good.
Butterfree's thirst for the blood of the living has been sated. For now. 3rd badge acquired. But wait, I thought Whitney was super hard and Butterfree has a 4x weakness to fucking sleep powder and flash, guys. This isn't rocket science. In Ecruteak City, you can't actually...
Okay. Good job. You used the tools the game gave you. Like, do you want a prize? What? I don't get it.
Go to the gym without doing the side quest first. You know, just like Azalea Town.
You gotta remember, like, when you're a kid, you don't really care for status moves. You just pick damaging moves. Lily, you're playing this as a 30-year-old. Of course you know that sleep powder is gonna counter rollout. But a kid who's not, reading anything and just is stupid, like a 9-year-old plays this game, just chooses damaging moves because they don't feel like reading, and then they get destroyed by Whitney's Miltank. It's because they are an idiot 9-year-old. You're a 30. You know this. A bit corny, but I don't know why whenever she wants to talk about the problems with her generation transmission, I mean, JTV, for some reason he's not fucking Keystar or something. Yeah, I don't know either. Like, I think she just doesn't like PokeTubers in general, and she just didn't feel like downloading a picture of a different one. Maybe that's the case. Like, if you want to talk about creators that are doing this whole, oh, you should play this and this and this, wouldn't it be like make more sense to go for someone like Pichao? I like Pichao. I like his content. He's really good. But like, he's a Nuzlocke and he plays pretty like, games that are very technical, and if you don't play a specific optimal way, you will lose. It would make more sense to mention him because that's his whole gig. Like, he made a bunch of reaction videos. That was like his call to fame. He made a bunch of reaction videos saying, hey, you should play like this if you want to do it optimally. He would make more sense, I think. Kind of hate Pichao on a personal level because of the waifu ranking video. I haven't watched that one. I guess I gotta watch that one next. PokeTuber Big Yellow said it best. Pokemon is a Google Gaga press one button game first, and a competitive game like 4 for 5th. That is true. That is totally true. The teenager should play with his golf. Okay. What was the teenager? Because I'm curious now. What the hell, dude? Pokemon fans, when they have to choose between people of age or children or animals to be attracted to. Oh, the girl from Sun and Moon, right? I forgot her name, but the golf girl. She's a teenager? I don't know her age, actually. I never checked. Like, I don't know. She always looked to me like she would be like 17, 18, 19. Around that area, which is still a teenager, I guess. So yeah, you're right, but still. Isn't the thing with Sun and Moon that none of the characters have like definitive ages? Isn't there a thing with the wiki that if you search for like Lana or Mallow or any of the like not known character ages, they just say they're like 11 to 17? Isn't that a thing? I remember that. It's pretty funny. Yeah, no, I don't know. She always looked to me a bit like Skyla, so I made the connection. Oh, okay, Skyla's an adult, so she's also an adult. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not, like, attracted to Pokemon characters. So, not all of them, at least. Whatever, let's get back to the video. This is, like, a really weird tangent.
Like, fucking half the gyms in this game have some side quest you have to do before you get the badge. Good lord. The side quest this time is to go through the burn tower where I found Kyle Ron, who is looking for a legendary Pokemon but decides to take it out on you when he can't find one. Dude, come on, take a chill pill. Anyway, of course you crush him because he's a wuss, and then you fall down a pit. Worse even, he mocks you for it, but the Pokemon he was looking for was right down here. Kyle, quit being a little bitch, your dogs are down here. Anyway, now that the dogs are gone, the gym leader will finally go back to his post and do his fucking job like he was supposed to. Great concept, huh? Anyway, I open battle with Togepi. That was a false.
Just want to mention that her Pokemon was poisoned. Right there, you can see the screen flash.
Job like he was supposed to. Great concept, huh?
Poisoned.
Anyway, I open battle with...
I know that.
Togepi. That was a false start. I switched to Butterfree and mowed through his first few Pokemon because some world-class intellect at Game Freak decided to make most of the ghost types weak to Psychic, and most of them have the move that cuts their health in half at the start anyway. Good job, Morty. It's even better because...
Yeah, I'll agree. Ghost types were not good, but, you know.
Because you don't take damage from Curse on the turn you knock the opponent out, so I got 2 free nukes on them without taking a scratch. And Curse is a volatile status effect, which means it's removed if you switch out. It sure would suck.
I'm impressed that she didn't mention... Oh, well, I guess she wouldn't, but she didn't mention the whole Oh, you don't really get Pokemon from Johto straight up from Johto, like in the early game. You have most of your team and most of the gym leaders' teams are from Kanto, which is a like fair complaint, I think. I don't know why she's not mentioning it, especially on a situation like this, where she is fighting and poking fun at the fact that Gengar and the Gengar line is like weak to Psychic. So I don't know why she's not mentioning it, but okay.
If I switched out into a normal type
Yeah.
who was immune to Shadow
It
Ball,
is
wouldn't
an
it?
issue.
Fucking
It's a
ghost
really
types, I
weird
swear.
issue.
Gengar's main strategy is to use Hypnosis and then Dream Eater. He will always use Dream Eater if the opponent is asleep, meaning you can switch out to a Pokemon that isn't to make it fail. And with Hypnosis having a less than perfect accuracy, you can effectively dance into a miss as much as you like. This actually makes Gengar something of a pushover.
God forbid a team leader have a side quest in an RPG. I think she just doesn't like RPGs. At least JRPGs. That's what she seems to. She would not survive Persona.
An even better approach is to use a normal type that's paralyzed, meaning they can't be put to sleep and can't be damaged by any other move, making Gengar a sitting duck. This is what I love about Gen 2. You can just bend the game over your knee and beat it until it cries.
You can do that with every game. That's called strategy. You're acting as if you're super smart when that's like... You're not breaking the game. That's part of the game. That's on purpose. You know? That's how the game is designed to work. You're not breaking it. You're not doing anything special. You're just playing it as it is intended. And there are multiple ways to like beat something. Because that's the point. It's an RPG. It's a strategy game.
Badge acquired. Coming into Olivine, we have... another fucking side quest. Jasmine is up at the lighthouse taking care of a sick Ampharos, and I need to go across the ocean to get the medicine because apparently Olivine City doesn't have a single runner or ferry going to an island-locked town just 10 minutes across the sea, despite the fact that it's Johto's main harbor with a ship going to fucking Kanto. Fine, whatever. Sail across the ocean, pick up your damn medicine. I might as well get the badge while I'm... Oh, stupid me. You need strength in this gym, and I didn't get it. This is what I mean. The HMs are all just lying in random places in cities, except for Waterfall, which you just find randomly in Ice Path. They really wanted you to explore. You get to a new town, and they're like, crawl over every single building. And you know what? I didn't. And now I have to do the fucking walk of shame all the way back to Olivine. Whatever, I got it, and now we're back properly this time. Most of Chuck's Pokemon are fighting type, which means Butterfree gets to sweep again. Oh, that's not good. It's alright, Togepi's got it, and Primeape is down. I sent out Bayleaf against Poliwrath, but I kept getting stuck in a loop of sleep, Mind Reader, and sleep again. Wake up, you damn plant dog! Switching out wasn't good either because Poliwrath was faster and would just keep doing the loop of Mind Reader and Hypnosis. In better games, you can loop AI to your advantage. Here it just fucks you over, and he keeps using Hypnosis.
Weren't you, like, making fun of the game for doing this 5 seconds ago? You were saying that's a plus, and now you're saying that's a con. Make up your damn mind, Orchard.
Whatever, I decided to take the coward's way out, and that was to
Mentine
keep
is
healing until he ran out of power
agree.
points. By some miracle, bringing out Bayleaf again got him to miss twice with Hypnosis. Nice! But then he hit me with the third one. Aww. But eventually I won the stalling war because Bayleaf is bulky as shit, and definitely not because I had him hooked up to an IV full of potions. 5th badge acquired. So I got the...
Is Bayleaf bulky? I don't know its base stats. But I feel like most Pokemon can be bulky if you use, like, potions. That's kind of the point.
medicine to Amphi and convince Jasmine to do her job, and so we're right back into another gym battle. This is where the game falls apart a bit. You see, once you finish Ecruteak City, you have the choice of where to go next. You could...
So plus when it gives me a mental boner, but it's a con when it makes me feel a slight negative emotion. Yeah. Basically.
Olivine, Cianwood, and Mahogany Town storylines and their respective gyms in any order you want. But you have to do all of them. Because you could do them in any order, they're all relatively the same power-wise. This is that infamous level curve people talk about, because once you reach this point, progression just sort of stops. Wild Pokemon remain around level 15, trainers have around level 20, and the gym leaders have Pokemon in their 30s for 3 gyms until you have 7 badges. Outside of Red, very few battles in this game feature Pokemon higher than level 50. As I mentioned earlier,
yeah, because they didn't want you to be overpowered for Kanto. That's the point. But she's not gonna engage with that, I feel like. She's just not. She didn't engage with like anything in Gen 1 actually. She didn't go to Seafoam, she didn't go to Power Plant, she didn't go to wherever Moltres is, I forgot the name. She didn't go to Cerulean Cave. She didn't search for anything. She didn't like engage with post game stuff. She's probably not gonna do that here as well, right?
Most of the XP is found in the daily and weekly events and the trainer rematches, but the entire system is extremely inelegant, and it means you have to wait until the next day to actually do anything. This means you don't have to do much grinding for a full team, but it also means that if you're not doing those daily events, you're going to fall behind very quickly, because wild Pokemon just flat out aren't very high level. And if you're only using your starter for everything, you're going to be criminally over level. With all three gyms all having the same level range, that gulf is only going to get bigger and bigger. You're either overpowered, stuck grinding, or stuck waiting. All of this is only compounded by the availability of Pokemon. More than half the Johto Dex isn't available outside of the post-game, either being locked to Kanto, items you get from Kanto, or areas you can't access until you've cleared Kanto. I know Tamahiro recently put out a video defending this decision as it made some Pokemon rare and desirable through their scarcity, but here's a big problem with that. Johto's actually good Pokemon not being available until well into the post-game turns them into trophies rather than actual Pokemon. Once you get a Misdreavus, there is nothing left to do. Once you get a Houndour, you're 95% of the way through the post-game with only red in your way. Same with Larvitar. So many actually good Pokemon stuck in a part of the game where once you get them, there is nothing left to actually do with them other than erase them by starting a new game. This might sound...
Okay. We are kind of forgetting that Pokemon is mainly a social game. That's the whole point of having two versions. Because there are differences. So, like, the point is that, oh, I have Pokemon Gold and my friend has Pokemon Silver, so we can, like, catch Pokemon in like, I don't know, an hour and fight each other, and that's cool. And like that was kind of the point. And I don't know where you find, I'm pretty sure you find them in Victory Road, so yeah, it makes sense that they wouldn't work like now. These Pokemon are not good now because you can't really fight people and you can only use them for like red if you haven't fought them yet, and that's it. But like, that is an issue, I agree. But at the time, it made sense because the value wasn't just from the main game, it was also from, you know, interacting with other people who had the game. And you can trade these Pokemon and you can fight with them, so they still had value. It doesn't hold up today, but when it was made, it made sense. So, like, yeah, I feel like we're kind of thinking just from today's lenses, it doesn't make sense, but back then it did. It was like something that was understandable as a design choice. Not anymore, obviously. They didn't really think much about the future, but who cares? They were getting money, so...
Fine for trophy hunters out there, but if you're someone for whom, say, Houndoom is your favorite Pokemon, this is actually garbage design. Sure, it might make Houndoom more special and exclusive and give it more value to make it so rare, but is that fun? No, it's not. And value can fuck off if it makes the game less fun. This is why only pathetic sacks of shit think shiny Pokemon have any actual value. They're such a pain in the ass to get that most people just won't bother, and not bothering is the smart decision. Value is...
Okay, well, that's different, and you know it. That is different, and you know it, because the point of shiny Pokemon is that they're rare. They were never supposed to have actual value. They're just cool. I don't think that's supposed to be like, oh, you get a shiny Pokemon, and now it's super strong. If we're gonna go by that metric, then, like, no Pokemon that is rare has value. You know? Like... not a single one, not even in the current games, because at some point you're gonna get to a point where it's like, oh, I've fought every guy and now this guy is available, but why should I get him when I have no one to fight with? Yeah, like the game isn't designed to just be the main game. I get that we're just that we're only reviewing the main games. But first, that makes the title a lie, because that's not a complete retrospective. That is a main game retrospective. And if we don't, like, the game isn't just a main game. That's what I'm saying. Okay? And also, Kanto isn't really post game. It's a kind of main game when you think about it. But you know.
It's entirely subjective, and while you might need scarcity to make Tyranitar more valuable, people for whom Tyranitar is their favorite Pokemon aren't so capitalist in mindset, and artificially depriving them of their favorite Pokemon is actually the worst decision a Pokemon game could ever make. I know I would hate it if a Pokemon game withheld Gardevoir from me until the post-game, and several of them have done just that. When you have a game series like this where the actual value of individual Pokemon is so subjective, artificially withholding many of those Pokemon is just punishing the people who dare to actually like them. Just for comparison, there is a series of ROM hacks made by Drayano that increase the difficulty of the Pokemon games, but also make every Pokemon...
I agree that it's an issue in this game, because Pokemon, like, for example, Larvitar is one of my favorite Pokemon. That's my baby. But Larvitar isn't really, like, isn't available until the end. I agree. I don't like that. I want to use Larvitar. I want to use Tyranitar. But that is different in Gen 5, because Gen 5 was a soft reboot. And, like, the whole point is, you know, there is, like, it's again the thing. The game isn't just the main game. There is a social aspect to it and an external factor to it that you should take into account when thinking of how they design it. It's bad now, but back then, was it good? Did it make sense? Because they don't care about now. They're not getting money from Pokemon Gold now. They're not. Because they're not selling it anymore. So why should they care about if the game is going to be good in 20 years if it has to be good now? Because now is when they're getting money from it. Like, I get not liking that, but you got to remember, it is something that for the time made sense. That's like if I said that, like, let me think of something. That's like saying I don't know. I don't feel like thinking of a comparison, but you know what I mean. You get it.
Available. And just looking at a single route, there's such a huge variety of Pokemon in each area. Look at how many Pokemon around Route 30 in Sacred Gold alone. There is no universe where this isn't better. Having all that variety, being able to make a unique and varied team every game will always be better than whatever the fuck Gen 2 is doing. Gen 2
Agreed.
is needlessly restrictive in this regard. You just get so few Pokemon to work with, and with how flat the level curve is, it just feels bad. So many times playing through this, I found myself wanting to add a Pokemon to my team only to look it up and realize that I could only get it in Kanto or with an item I get in Kanto. I wanted to
Agreed.
get an Octillery because I've never used one before, but I can't because I needed a Super Rod to fish for one even though it's in Johto. Oh, and it's not even available in Crystal version at all.
Okay, that's
Thanks,
fair. That's fair comparison.
fuckers. Anyway, Olivine, Steel-type Gym. Hello, Graveler. Say hello to Magnemite. Hello, Magnemite. Now say hello to Steelix. Hello, Oh, that's not good. It's alright, Bayleaf's got this with Reflectant. You know, sometimes I really don't like you. It's alright, Mantine's got it. Good job,
Matka's
Mantine.
bad.
6th badge acquired. Getting into Mahogany Town, there's a problem.
Sorry, I wasn't reading chat. That's why she doesn't like Gen 5, because she's a gooner. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? No, yeah. I know she likes Gardevoir a lot. We're gonna see, but that's funny. Funny comment. Remember Drayano's hack was for Gen 4 where there were more than 251 Pokemon? Yeah. I don't know much about that hack. I never heard of it until now, so I can't really comment on it.
Gym is blocked off until you complete the underground rocket dungeon, which first requires defeating the shiny Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. This sets in motion the worst part of the damn game. I hope you like rocket fights because there's nothing but them for the next 2 hours. You gotta go through the rocket hideout, and then after you get the 7th badge, you have to trek through 3 different dungeons in Goldenrod City filled with samey, boring rocket fights, 2 of which are just the radio tower split into 2 parts, and fucking Christ, this sucks. Compared to the later games, it's not as egregious. I'd rather go through this than the 70 billion plasma encounters in Gen 5, but it is clear to see where Game Freak is picking up their bad habits. Cards on the table, some people like the more involved JRPG plots Pokemon has had since Gen 4. People gas up Cyrus and N as the best antagonist the series ever had.
Wait, who's saying that Cyrus is the best antagonist? Wait, I was gonna talk about something else, but what? Cyrus is okay. Like, okay. N, yeah, I agree. People do love N, and it's fair. N is really good. He's really well written. But she's probably gonna say that he isn't. She doesn't hate gauntlets. She hates rocket grunts. Basically, she hates anything that she considers an annoyance, and that is basically anything that stops her from just walking around. That's it. That's all there is to it, really. I forgot what I was gonna say.
But I fucking hate these two. Pokemon storytelling hasn't gotten better.
Of course.
Better over the years, it's just gotten wordier. It takes more text to do the same thing, and those bad habits start here. So Lance attacks a human being with a fully evolved...
I mean, what can I say here? It's more of what I've said before. Lily Archer just doesn't like engaging with a story. And as a result, she hates Gen 5 and Gen 4 and anything. She just doesn't like words because they confuse her.
Dragon.
Are we the baddies?
And we descend into the rocket hideout. One workaround of the alarm system later, and we're at the bottom level. We need 2 passwords to open the door to the executive's office to get the real password for the generator, and then we destroy the electrode. If I'm breezing through this, it's because it's really not that interesting. So the Mahogany Gym is themed around ice, and the puzzle is a sliding ice.
I know. She likes gauntlets. That's the thing. She likes gauntlets, but only when it's convenient for her.
Puzzle. Basically, you have to find the one roundabout route that takes you to the gym leader, going through as many trainers as possible, so thanks for that, Game Freak. I mentioned before about the endurance inherent to dungeons, and I feel Mahogany Gym manages to get this vibe down better than most, because it's actually a pain in the ass to get back out and back in again, so going back to the Pokemon Center to heal is at least somewhat discouraged. Anyway, time for Price. His first Pokemon is Seal, which is actually a water type, so eat leaves, and then comes Dugong, another water type, so more leaves. Price, you're getting your ass kicked by the type you're supposed to be good against. Step it up, old man. He sends out Piloswine, and I body it with a couple of flamethrowers. No big deal, no Lily Orchard bimbo moments today. 7th badge acquired. Oh, shit. Oh, that means I have to... So Team Rocket is broadcasting a message on...
It's ice type. It just sucks. That's like one of the facts of Pokemon. Ice type sucks. That has always been the case.
Public radio demanding that Giovanni come back. Come on, baby, it'll be different this time. So I arrived at the Rocket Tower to find that it was infested with Team Rocket. Oh no! And they've taken the boss of the radio tower hostage. Oh no! And hid him in the basement of the mall behind a locked door and a button puzzle. Oh no! Wait, the mall has that? Why? Like, forget Team Rocket. Who the fuck put a button combination puzzle on the loading zone of a mall? Do you hate dock workers that much? What Amazon warehouse bullshit is this? Okay, so once you get the radio manager out, you have to go back through the lock gate to his office to beat up the executive. All of this takes place amidst an hour of tedious battles with the same grunts who all have the same Pokemon, and fucking kill me now. Team Rocket was...
What, didn't you like gauntlets? Wasn't that the case? Why do you hate them now? I don't get it.
Fun in the last game, but as I mentioned before, they're so pathetic and sad and in denial, I almost feel bad for fighting them, and the fact that every fight is a dull slog only makes fighting them worse. I don't just feel bad for them, I resent them for being so in denial that they're getting in the way of the game, which, in a sick and twisted way, is pretty dark storytelling. But it's Pokemon. I don't want to beat up people who are clearly depressed. This is the same problem World of Warcraft had recently. I don't want to beat up someone who doesn't deserve it. Anyway, in return for all that, you're given the Clear Bell, and I...
The problem is that they all have the same Pokemon, like Sprout Tower, which she likes. To be fair, I think what she's saying is that the problem is that it's like an hour long. It's just fair, but like, what? You like gauntlets, but only when you don't. Like, what? Make up your damn mind.
Item that lets you encounter Suicune in Tin Tower. Could I have a real reward, please? Okay, so there's one more thing to do before I get the last badge that's unique to Crystal.
What was
Anyway,
it?
in return for all that, you're given the Clear Bell, an item that lets you encounter Suicune in Tin Tower. Could I have a real reward, please? Okay, so there's one more thing.
Weren't you complaining that you couldn't use new Pokemon? Use Suicune. It's a new Pokemon. You haven't used it in Kanto. Use it. Like,
Thing to do before I get the last.
you were complaining that strong Pokemon were unavailable, but now you're complaining that Suicune isn't a real reward. Make up your damn mind, Orchard.
Badge that's unique to Crystal. You need to go to Tim Tower and have a scripted encounter with the Box Legendary. Oh boy, I sure hope they don't overuse this plot point in literally every single game after this. That'd really suck. Oh, but you...
Okay, why are you mad? The Box Legend... That's not a plot point. That's like a trope at most. That's not a plot point. The Box Legendary is like what sells people the game. Well, other than, like, game differences is what sells them. So, of course, if you buy one version, you're gonna want the Pokemon in that one version. You literally don't have to go catch Hoenn and Crystal. Yeah, she's, like, not playing Crystal, which is weird. I don't know why she's not playing Crystal. She should be. Any of the Gen 2 games, for that matter. Okay, then what is she complaining about? I don't get it. To be fair, she also complained that Suicune existed, that she could catch Suicune, even though she doesn't have to. So she doesn't really care. She is playing Crystal. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I haven't played these games. I played Heart Gold. That's the only one of these I played. Fucking sue me. Actually, don't. I don't want to have to, like, hire a lawyer.
Can't just go through. No, that would be simple. Instead, you need to battle the 3 sages before they will let you through. Anyway, I crushed them and shattered their faith and went on to the dogs. 2 of them ran away and Suicune challenged me. And I killed it because Legos are boring. No, really, I don't think I've actually caught a non-mandatory legendary in a long time. You seen or...
Then why are you complaining?
However you pronounce it, gamers at me about how great and special Suicune is, and now we can go. Between Mahogany Town and Blackthorn City is Ice Path, a dungeon filled with movement puzzles. I actually think Ice Path is one of the more interesting dungeons, and not just because it has a unique tile set in Crystal, but because the strength and movement puzzles are a lot more interesting than just push boulder onto button. Furthermore, it follows my thing about good dungeon design. Because there's so much movement and puzzle solving, there are virtually no trainers here harassing you and getting in your way, and while Pokemon encounters don't happen on the ice tiles, this means 100% of your focus is spent on navigating the terrain. It really does feel like a dangerous cave you need to be careful in. Making it to Blackthorn City, I made a...
I mean, I like ice puzzles, and I agree that trainers and encounters in caves are annoying, but I don't get what her point was. She likes the other boulder puzzles. Like, okay. You know that's... like, whatever, man.
Beeline straight to the gym. Blackthorn uses dragon types, of which there are only about 4 in the game: Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite, and Kingdra. They're also supplemented with Horsey and Seadra as well. As you can see, not many Gen 2 Pokemon. This is a complaint of Gen 2 as a whole, in that half the new roster has to take a back seat, especially where gyms are concerned. The fight with Claire starts with Dragonair, but she paralyzes Butterfree and then gets in a crit slam. What the hell? Fine, Golem's got this. Don't worry, Butterfree, I still love you. But then she pulls out a second Dragonair who freezes my Golem. You're just being mean at this point. So I brought out Mantine, and looking at his moveset, can you guess which move I decided to use against the Dragon-type Pokemon? That's right, it was Surf. It's alright, I won anyway, no harm done. And then there's a third Dragonair. You have 3. Why do you have 3? Fine, Ice Beam this one too.
I mean, she's just following her brother, right? Doesn't Lance have, like, 2 Dragonites? They are brothers, right? If I remember correctly. I hope so. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I don't look like an idiot right now.
whatever, Iron Tail. I don't like this gym. Claire sends out Kingdra, who is super bulky
Magicka's
and gets hooked up
bad.
to an IV full of hyper potions, which means I lost. I really don't like this gym. Tried it again, made better decisions,
Magicka's
and
bad.
managed to win. But, Claire won't give me the badge because she thinks I'm still not ready for the Pokemon League. She says I have to talk to the Dragon Elders and take a little U quiz they made before she'll give it to me. I really don't like this gym. The Dragon's Den...
Really go now. I gotta buy stuff. People are coming to have fun. Bye, Dime. And good luck with your purchases of things. Maybe she ever mentions Klebs in her adult parts. She's not gonna mention them. Bye. Banger. This is a banger right there.
Oh, this music's gonna be the end of me. The Game Boy speaker really struggles with some tracks, and this...
Oh, this is torture.
I actually always wondered what would happen if you got any of the questions wrong, but it turns out he just says, huh? Didn't catch that? And makes you answer again, and the only penalty is that the Dratini you get doesn't have extreme speed. Oh no, if only I liked Dragonite and wasn't quite so good at alienating people. You fucking heard me, old man. Eventually, I gave up my stubborn insistence on being difficult.
She's complaining about nothing here. Like, that's a cool thing. Like, okay, you get a Pokemon with an extra move if you get it all right. That's cool. That's a, like, interesting thing to do. But, you know, like, what's the problem? That's just... What? I don't get it.
And gave him the answers he wanted to hear, and then he lectured his granddaughter to give me the badge. 8th badge acquired! Well, that was an ordeal and a half. Crazy thing, this time Victory Road is actually a road. Most of the route is an overworld area, with the only major cave being mercifully short. You have to travel to Kanto along this winding route through Mount Silver that culminates in a small tunnel with... Ah, crap. I have to have one more fight with Kyle Ron, who I'm realizing just a little bit too late that I should have named Hunter. I bully him and he just doubles down. Whatever, I didn't like you anyway. The Gen 2 Elite Four is slightly different this time around. We have Will, Koga, Karen, and the one we don't talk about using Psychic, Poison, Dark, and Fighting. Will's up first, and thankfully Psychic types still have the same fatal flaw in this gen that they had in Gen 1 of being vulnerable to physical attacks. Even better, Will has 2 Xatu who are weak to rock, so Golem's on point here, but his Executor got off a cheeky little Reflect, the asshole. But his Pokemon are also weak to fire, so we're all good. I caught Slowbro in an Encore trap and then crunched his special defense before blasting him with Razor Leaf. His last Xatu caught me in a really bad string of confusion, but luckily for me, Meganium is bulky as crap. Probably noticing that this time around my Pokemon are a lot more bulky and defensive. This is because Gen 2 is extremely stingy with Pokemon XP and moves, and so high defense is the most reliable strategy to get through painlessly unless you're just spamming Typhlosion. It's also why I kept Togepi and why I got both Chikorita and Geodude. Going into Koga, his Pokemon are mostly Poison and Bug. I thought this would mean I'd need Butterfree and Togetic since they have Psychic moves, but Golem just swept the competition. So now I'm going into
Silenzio Bruno.
Namely, Butterfree's on point to humiliate him the same way I did last time, Psychic and Solar Beam. I may have hit a Solar Beam where I meant to Psychic, but it's all good. At least until Machamp got off that cheeky little rock slide. Butterfree will have her vengeance. It's okay, I have an extra. Moving on to Karen, I have a fighting type, so I tried just spamming Submission to come out on top, but sadly the reality of what Submission means meant that wasn't going to work. But it's fine, Togetic and Golem picked up the slack.
That's
on to Lance,
5,
my
right?
second
5
least favorite
sex jokes,
champion.
I think.
This fight can either be really hard or really easy, depending on how you've played so far. The thing is that Lance is a Dragon Master, but his Pokemon are more Dragon in vibe than in type. He has 3 Dragonite, who all have different elemental...
Yeah, because there were like 5 dragon types in this gen. Like 3 if you don't count all the Dragonite line Pokemon as different. So kind of hard to do something different with that. That was on them. There's no way around it. Maybe they shouldn't have chosen a dragon type person for this when they have like 0 dragon types.
Moves for coverage, a Gyarados, an Aerodactyl, and a Charizard. This obviously means you can't ice your way to victory. It doesn't work. Pause for effect. Instead, you have to rock your way to victory because all of his Pokemon are weak to rock type attacks. I'm serious. All of them. And your only threat is Blizzard from 1 Dragonite. Once it's out of the picture, you're in the clear. A little bit anticlimactic now that I think about it. Yeah, so, I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not a fan. While it is ultimately Gen 1 but with more stuff, Gen 2 is completely hamstrung by its extremely stingy offerings of Pokemon. All the fun Pokemon are locked away in the post-game. That's not where they should be. They should be here in the main game. That's how the last one worked. That's how every gen works. It makes absolutely no sense to make 100 new Pokemon and then take all the cool ones and seal them off in the post-game. Follow me on this. In Generation 1, how many Pokemon are in Cerulean Cave that you can't acquire anywhere else in the game? One. Mewtwo. That's it, that's the only one. Arguably, more Kanto Pokemon should have been locked to Kanto, with more Johto Pokemon being in Johto. In all 3 Gen 2 games, Houndour can only be found on Route 7 in Kanto. That's it. This is a Johto Pokemon, why isn't he in Johto? This is also the case for Larvitar, Murkrow, and Misdreavus. It wouldn't be until the remakes where this was alleviated with the return of the Safari Zone, but in the original games, you get this very stingy amount of Pokemon to play with for arguably no reason other than making them into trophy mons. This is a problem that no Pokemon game has ever repeated. You can still catch the really cool and interesting Pokemon of each generation before the midpoint of the game. Gen 3 does not arbitrarily withhold slacking Breloom or Gardevoir from you. If you want them, they're right there. This is an objective problem with Generation 2, and it's kind of wholly the problem. The whole appeal of a new gen is getting to play with new Pokemon. Why would you try to stop us from doing that? The appeal of Kanto should be reacquiring older favorites, not finding half the new Pokemon you've hidden away. The end result is that some Pokemon will never be on someone's team because you just can't get them. This is a problem in every generation, but Gen 2 is the worst offender here, and I think that's significant enough to warrant a very harsh criticism. It is because of that, Gen 2 does not even come close to eclipsing its predecessor. It might be the only flaw with the generation, but it is a big one, and it's telling that this was not something they would ever repeat.
Okay, I can agree to that. That's enough. I'm tired of this. I cannot take it anymore. I'm gonna end stream now. Overall, this has been a kind of miserable, but I bet it's gonna get worse. I'm gonna be streaming this again for sure soon. Probably on Tuesday. So let's wait for that. Get excited, because it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get real bad. Okay. Bye, chat. Bye-bye.